You know, I'm not sure if that theme's a bit long or not.
I think it's all right.
Yeah, it's all right. It's supposed to be funky.
Nice.
Hello and welcome to Pods Like Us. I'm Martin Quibble, known to my friends as Marv, and this time I am speaking with the legend to all podcasters everywhere that is Sean from Review It Yourself. Although there are various different sub-review or do-it-yourself type things as well. Hey, Sean, thanks for speaking with me.
Absolute pleasure, Marv. Overjoyed to be here. Really am.
That might be a question from a listener later, by the way.
Oh, cool. I look forward to it.
That's not really hinting, is it? That's actually just saying you're going to have a question about that later from a listener.
Oh, I've no doubt. Yeah, it become a bit of a joke. I said even jokingly I'm going to rename the podcast to Not Another Side Series, but we'll see. It became like a running joke of how far out can I spin this? It yourself. I think I've spun about 4 or 5 things out of it. But yeah, I was lucky enough to pick a name. I'll come on to it later on into how I picked that name. And yeah, it lends itself to just changing the first. You can do it with anything.
Yep. Yeah, it's a bit like I seem to have happened upon, Pods Like Us meets, and then it's whoever the guest is going to be or whatever the show is that I'm speaking with. So it's just a thing that you get, yeah.
Yeah, it works, but it's difficult to pick something that somebody hasn't already picked. Because I remember when I started, you think about what I like to do, would I like to do this, and then you look at it. Oh, I love 24. Oh no, there's about 6 24 series. All right. Oh, I really like Cheers. Oh no, there's like 3 of them. But you can, it's impressive if you can figure something that's actually new or actually stands out a little bit.
Yep. I mean, there's so many Queen podcasts, so I couldn't do a show about my favourite band, and so many Beatles podcasts, although saying that, I do a Beatles podcast now as well, separately. So, what was your first experience with film?
So, the first film I saw at the cinema was Small Soldiers.
Great film.
Oh, yeah. Oh, brilliant film. I went to see it with my granddad at a cinema that's long since been knocked down now.
Yep.
And I remember, all I really remember is the end of it. And I just absolutely loved it. And I think that Christmas, my grandma and granddad bought me the Archer figure, which I've still got somewhere.
Wow.
So it's one of those films that I really, really enjoy it. And I revisited it on my own pod recently, and it stands up ridiculously well. I was really, really happy because sometimes when you go back to a film that you loved when you were a kid, and you go back to it and go, oh, that wasn't very good. It's always a risk when you do films. Always a risk that you go back and go, that wasn't as good as I remembered, and then you just bereft.
Yeah, it happens with television series as well. You'll go back to one of those when you see it on a streaming thing, and you think, well, I've got half an hour to spare, 15 minutes. I'll watch a program I watched as a kid, and then you watch it again, you think, oh, it hasn't really aged very well. Some of these things.
Yeah, definitely. I was brought up on older series.
Yep.
Like my mum and dad loved Cheers, so I absolutely love Cheers. Steptoe Son, which I absolutely love. Dad's Army, Porridge, all those classic. Well, Red Dwarf, all those classic kind of comedies. I don't think anything comes anywhere near them now. Nowhere near them. Absolutely, absolutely love them. But yeah, there are things in them that don't age well. But I suppose that society moves on. You can't ignore it. You've got to, especially with someone who loves my history and looks into my history. The minute you start editing things down and censoring them, it's like, hang on a minute, that's not the best thing to do. Countries that do that don't tend to do very well. Because where do you stop? So, yeah, it's went a bit off on one there, didn't I?
Yep. There we go. We're getting political already.
Because I'm not on my own. I just think, I can say what I'm joking. I'm joking.
Message to Steven Spielberg: do not get rid of the guns and swap them for radios in ET. It's just wrong.
Oh, it looks stupid. It looks really, really stupid. Like, change them into batons instead.
Yep.
Or like the Americans, a truncheon. Change it into a truncheon. But it looks so stupid because it stood with a stance, isn't it? Oh yeah, I've got that somewhere. The 20th anniversary release, and I remember watching like the behind the scenes. It's like, oh, since I've had kids, it's Stephen, like, come on now, you don't need to do that. I sounded like Bill then, but you know what I mean. You don't need to. Why? What's the point? Nobody cared really.
For anybody that doesn't know, he's mentioned Bill there, and that's Bill from Bill Reads Bad Reviews, who has been on the show more than on Review It Yourself as a guest, more than anybody else.
Yes, I think. How many times it now? Is it 14? I think. With one, is it something like that? It's a lot. It's a lot more than anybody else. Well, at least I tell a lie. It's at least double anybody else. But yeah, Bill's great.
Really, you should both just have a side series that's separate where you do one episode per month or something.
Well, I mean, that's
Sean
about
and
what we're getting now.
Bill and Sean's excellent film adventures.
Oh no, it'd have to be. What did you call us? The odd couple or the what you called us something, didn't you? Everyone's favorite odd couple or something. That would be the title of it.
Well,
that'd be the title of it.
Yep.
But I don't know. I think I've done it before where I've done like side series in my main show, like the Bake Off series, and you think, oh, we'll do that, but then because you're under a bit of a structure, it becomes a little bit more.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I would never want it to become too like, oh, we need to do one. It's very much like we fire backwards and forwards. You know, I sent him a video of. I hope he doesn't get annoyed. I tell you this. I sent him or everybody this. I was making myself beans on toast. So I actually videoed pouring out the tin. Like, oh, look at this, Bill. Oh, the toast. And it was just sending it as a bit of a joke. So there's always a little bit of like a bit of fun. I always know when Bill's logged on because he logs on every couple of days, 2 or 3 days, 4 days, and your notifications just go crazy. Like Bill's like this, commenting on this. But yeah, can't wait to do our next film. Always a joy with Bill.
Usually a Tuesday and a Friday with Bill, if anybody's interested. Isn't it? You know, you'll be there, and then suddenly you get all these pings on your phone and your notifications, and you'll think, "Oh, Bill's woken up from his 3 days away."
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, bless him. He wasn't too well over. Was it just before Christmas? So he wasn't on for quite a while, but it was nice to get him back. But yeah, he's very supportive of the shows, Bill, as well, which is nice to see.
But because of him being away and being ill before Christmas, we got the genius that was your take on Bill Reed's Bad Reviews. That was just great. I wish he'd have put that in his main feed.
I'd wanted to do that for so long. I really had. Like, I've got a couple of shows that I absolutely love, and I'd wanted to do that for a while. Yeah. That kind of impression. And I thought, well, if you're going to do it properly. So I listened to his podcast every week anyway, and I went back through and I wrote down exactly what his intro is. I worked out when he sighs, when he does his set, what his phrases are, and I think I did an okay job. My accent's horrendous, but that's not the point.
No,
it was just, and I remember messaging him and saying, "Do you mind if I do this?" I knew he wouldn't, but you know what it's like. I didn't want anybody once it went out to think, "Oh, I was taking the mick out of him." And he was like, "Yeah, go for it." So that one did quite well. So I don't know. It was just, especially when he was off for a bit. I thought, oh, this might be a good time to do this. Yeah, I enjoyed doing that far too much. Because as I've said to him, it's a fantastic idea. If I ever wanted to rip off anybody's podcast idea, it'd be his.
Yeah,
it'd be. I'll do that instead.
But the thing is, you did that good a version. I mean, I was going to do it myself, and then when I heard your version, I got all my notes written out and everything for doing my own version of it. And then I listened to yours, and it was like I almost physically like picked up my notes and just threw it away and thought, no, there's no way I can do any better than that.
Oh, you're too kind. The only thing with my accent, it's that strong I struggled to get over it to do, and certain words I can't do in American. So that was a bit strange to listen back to, but I know I genuinely love that one. The only thing I didn't do in it was like the opinion warning, and because I couldn't figure out in my head what Bill would think of it, because our views are a bit different in terms of films, and I thought I don't know quite how to do that. So it was good fun though. I did enjoy it. I'd happily do it again. Happily.
I did a Mickey take of it while I did the show with him. Did you? I don't know if you noticed
Yeah,
where
yeah,
I said
heard,
to him,
yeah.
and I said, opinion, warning, warning,
Yeah, that was great.
warning.
Yeah, it's a good idea. He's got a very slick podcast. It's very much, it starts, you know exactly what beats it's like a good song. You know what beats you're gonna hit. You know what you're gonna get. And it works. It's almost sickening, really, how well it works. But it does. It's a good podcast. I enjoy it, and he's such a positive guy.
Yeah.
The whole thing about that's how because I think I messaged him. I can't remember when, way back when, because I stumbled across his podcast.
Yeah.
Oh, that's an interesting idea. Listened to it and thought, there's no way. And this is the pessimistic, English in me. I thought, no way this guy's this positive. It's not possible. I thought I have to track him down and make him watch something that's terrible.
Yeah.
That's where the Breaking Bill, idea came from. Like, let's make him watch awful films. Because when Bill sighs, it warms your heart. It really does. And this is why a few times I've said to him, and I can't really do a video one, but I've said a few times where it's such a shame because some of his reactions sometimes, when you see the look on his face, it's just like, oh, there was a great one that the funniest reaction I've ever seen was when we were reviewing London Has Fallen.
Yeah.
And there was a bit in it where I just flippantly said, oh, why did they do this bit where there's this really emotional bit where, and like he says to his boss, oh, can you be the godmother? I mean, then she's dead 2 minutes later. And then Bill was like, oh, Matt, you can hear it. But he was just so like, oh, man, come on. Like, he was really shocked.
Oh,
I was
man.
like, what? I was like, what? I didn't write it, Bill. I didn't kill her. It's not my fault. But when we did the Small Soldiers episode, he did an impression of, the bit at the end when Alan puts the Gorgonites in the boat and off they go. And it has that pan shot of his face looking like wistfully towards them as they leave. He did an impression of that. And the face was spot on. And I was like, we're missing something here because it was such a funny person, honestly.
Do you not get copies of the video as well then, or do you just get the audio?
Just the audio on what I use. I used to get the videos that was taking up too much data, so I just did away with them, really.
I'm going to do a Billy. Really. I don't know, my guy. You could save all that and one of these days have like a reel of all these reactions from Bill. Just put it up on your Instagram or your Twitter.
Yeah, it'd be like one of those 12 degrees of separations where like, which Bill are you today? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Just all these different looks of disgust. Yeah. Oh,
Brilliant.
Definitely.
So here comes a stupid question then. Yep. Your listening history, because we were saying you don't listen to many podcasts. So what were you listening to then before starting your show, and what inspired you to start it?
Well, I never wanted to podcast, Matt. Yep. So it's little known. Anybody who's listened to my podcast will probably know, but it's little known because I've never really published it. Really, I did once. That this isn't my first podcast. Yep. There's a podcast out there called Reluctant Reviews, and I did it with my friend, who I've known for quite a few years, and we wanted to. We watch films together, and our tastes are so different. Like, he loves Dragon Ball Z and Star Wars, and I'm very much like The Green Mile, Shawshank, Braveheart, those kind of films. And there's a lot we'd never seen of the other. I'd never seen any Star Wars apart from Rogue One before, and which disgusted him. And that was the idea. We met in a Wetherspoons, as you do. Best ideas come from Wetherspoons. Yep. And other pubs are available. And, well, maybe. And we were there, and he was saying, oh, we should do a podcast. I was like, I don't want to do a podcast. Like, why would I want to do that? And we did that. I think we did, was it 13 episodes we did? 13 films, sorry, across 29 episodes, something like that, because we used to do like a half an hour beforehand of your preconceptions about right, have you heard about this film? And then that was a good chat. And then we'd have half an hour afterwards of, right, we've seen the film. What did you think? And then he didn't want to do it. Liam didn't want to do it anymore. He was changing jobs and just didn't have the time for it. And he said, look, why don't you keep doing it yourself? Something along those lines, do it yourself. And that when I was trying to figure out what I was going to call it, because I went through a few things like film faff or faffing and all this, but then there was a few things that were too similar to it.
Yep.
I think that's how I stumbled across Film Floggers, which was the first podcast I think I ever listened to. Strangely enough, I was just looking for film podcasts, and that came up for some reason, and I listened to that, and that is my, by far, I won't say my favorite because don't insult Bill, but that is my favorite British podcast. I love those guys, absolutely hilarious. So then I decided, right. My friend said, go do it yourself. And I was thinking, what can I call it? And that review it yourself, I don't know where it came from. I just thought, oh, that makes sense. I thought, I'm not calling it do it yourself because it can either be misconstrued as rude or it sounds like you're doing carpentry or something.
Yeah.
And I'm not great. I'm not a good DIY person. So I thought, right, let's call it review it yourself. Looked. No, it doesn't seem to be anybody else call that. As far as I know, I did check as far as you can. And then that was the idea with it, really. And it was never meant to be. It was just me talking about a film. Yeah. And that's what it was for 3 months, 3 months, in which I'd put out about 20 episodes or something, 30 episodes, a lot I put out because I was off for a bit. And then I was never going to have guests. It was not something I thought, well, how do you reach out to people? Is it awkward? How do you do it? And then Ryan Walker from the Walk the Line podcast was like, oh, I'd love to come on and talk Die Hard. And I was like, yeah, sure. And then he, very experienced, he does an interview podcast similar to yourself. I mean, he doesn't interview other podcasts, he does sometimes, but he interviews just anybody, musicians, artists, people who are interested in all sorts. It's such an eclectic mix. He's a Scottish guy. He's great at what he does. And he convinced me, like, no, just contact people, message him. And that was how it started. And then ever since then, the solo reviews have got less and less and less. And I've got my regulars that come on, but I'm always looking to add in different collaborations. People will come and do one episode and then it never quite happens, or they're really busy, or you do loads with them, like Luke from Nerdstalgic, and then they're really busy, so it quietens down for a bit. But you've always, that's where it started. But and Ben knows this because Ben from Film Floggers, by the way, everybody's going to be lots of name dropping in this. I'm not doing I know these famous people. I'm just one of these people. I like to shout out to people. But I remember when I collaborated with Ben, we were speaking. I did say to him, I modelled my show notes on yours. They've changed a little bit now, but when I first started, they were just now they're very much what questions were raised in it, what topics do you talk about. I used to do favorite quotes, but I felt that was a bit too revealing. So I thought, I don't want people to listen waiting for these random things to come up. But and then obviously Ben from Film Floggers helped me a lot as well. I messaged him and he's good on the technical side of it and lovely as well. So that helped. And it's rolled on from there. I've 3 episodes a week for the first year. That was the average, which is a bit nuts.
I was just thinking as well. One of my other faves is, we're going to be name dropping again here, was you and Bill being on Stu World Order with Stu and Batman and Robin. Hey,
another one where Mr. Trick, their faces were just. I thought Bill was never going to speak to me again. He was disgusted. I can't help it. We've all got those films. I know my adult brain tells me how bad it is. But when I watch it, it's just a joy. It's just an absolute joy. It knows what it is. It's yes, there's icicles are flopping about because they're made of plastic. Yes, they've got that awful backwards thing of Robin where they reverse the film. Yes, Uma Thurman, you murderer. Yes, we know. And she just rolled off winning an Oscar, I think, or nomination or something. And you think, what possessed you? As we'd say over here, Marv. What possessed you to do that? Who knows? But yeah, that was such good fun because I never told them Like Stu, like yourself, said, "Oh, we're going to go through this and then we'll rate them," and I was like, "Oh yeah, great." And then when I came out with, I won't spoil it for anybody. When I came out with my rating, they were just. I think Stu thought I was joking at first. Bill was a bit like, Bill knew, like, oh God, no. So I loved it, but I do love the film. It's awful, but what a beautiful mess.
Yep. Yep. And the film that came before that, Batman Forever, I thought Jim Carrey was better in that than Tommy Lee Jones.
Well, see, I haven't done Batman Forever yet. It's on the list to do at some point. But just you could do a whole episode just on the production of that. Like Tommy Lee Jones was heard to say to Jim Carrey, like, I can't sanction your buffoonery. Because you can imagine Tommy Lee Jones to just be a bit of a grump, a bit of a like, no, this is what I want to do. This is my craft. Whereas Jim Carrey is just like, well, look at him. I mean, what are you? Yeah, anyone who's seen The Riddler. But again, great film. Really enjoyed that when I was younger and still enjoy it now. A little bit random at times, like Nicole Kidman kickboxing. I don't really get that.
No.
It's such a strange entrance for her, but I love the fact that you saw that Batman get shot, like grazed a little bit. And I liked as a kid where they tried to go, with the doll, that kind of dream doll catching thing she gives him, and how he's trying to deal with his parents' death. And I liked Val Kilmer. I thought again it was a shame he never continued. I know a lot of people loved Michael Keaton, understandably so.
Yeah.
But yeah, I loved that. I never had an issue with him, to be honest, but a lot of people did. I was in the minority. I was a kid, so what was I to know?
Yeah, but both that and Batman and Robin had too many butt shots for my, or as we say in England, too many arse shots for my liking.
Yes, lots of buns, lot of buns, and then nipples as well. Can't forget the nipples.
Yeah, absolutely. God.
So yeah, I think the director said he was trying to go for a kind of Greek, godlike, Roman-like look. Whatever float your boat, but I think it rubbed a lot of people up. No pun intended. I think it rubbed a lot of people up the wrong way. I think they thought, "What is it? This is too silly. This is." I notice it a lot more now. I don't know what I'd say. I just never. You don't really notice things when you're younger. I don't think, but yeah, definitely, and it seems a bit excessive. It's just a bit like, why? What was the? At least he apologized though, Joe Schumacher. He came out because I've got the Batman and Robin and that's got behind the scenes, and I thought, I'm gonna have to watch these. How on earth can they like? Because we've all seen those behind the scenes where they're like, yeah, man, this movie was absolutely great. I loved everyone. Like this crew was like a family, and you're like, it wasn't, was it? Like I bet you hated each other, and in that there's no pretense whatsoever. They're all like, we're sorry. You can see it. They're all like, well, we softened up a bit on this one, but that's what happens when you decide to make toys and then think, right, well, we need to write a film to make the toys fit. I mean, that's a red flag right there.
Yep. To go back to the Batman Forever, I can just imagine, I'm doing a pun here on, fugitive line here, but I can imagine Tommy Lee Jones saying to
Jim Carrey?
Jim Carrey. I can imagine him saying, you can go to any outhouse, shit house, or any other house that's not my house.
I thought you were going to do a bit of a, I'm the Riddler. I don't care. I thought you were going to go down that.
Yeah. You can go to any outhouse, shit house, or any house but my house.
Have you seen the sequel to The Fugitive?
Oh, I don't mind that, but it's US Marshals.
Yes.
It's sort of the same film as The Fugitive.
Oh, yeah, pretty much. Yeah, except there's the twist with the character that turns out to be on the other side. I won't spoil it for anyone. A very young Robert Downey Jr. in it. Wesley Snipes, I thought was really good. There was some decent stunts in there, I think. But overall, I think a lot of people don't seem to know it exists, but it was decent. It came in a good run for Snipes. Demolition Man and Blade, that late 90s was his time, really.
Yeah. Was it Passenger 57, is it, or something as well?
Yes, that's a good one. Yeah, that's a good one. I watched that recently as well. That was a good one.
Which is a bit like Non-Stop with Liam Neeson, but 20 years earlier.
Yeah. I did Passenger 57 and Demolition Man on reluctant reviews because I'd never seen either of them.
Yep.
My friend was like, "Oh, you'll have to watch these," but he'd never seen like Armageddon. I was like, "You make me sick," but what can you do? We all have our own things, don't we?
For anyone interested, that's another good episode of Review It Yourself where he had Bill on. Was it
Which one?
Armageddon?
Oh yeah. Oh, that was such good fun. That really was. The Godzilla one as well. The Godzilla one stands out as being one of the most enjoyable to do. They're all enjoyable, but that Godzilla one was just because there's a little bit where Godzilla's like before he jumps up and bites the chopper,
Yeah.
or she. I don't know what. I don't know. He has eggs. I don't know. Whatever. It's the bit where you see Godzilla and just before he jumps up, he's like there, like crouching, hiding, like, and you're like, what's he doing? Like, and we, it looks like a granny with a little handbag. I think was what Bill said, and it killed me. I just don't think I can ever watch that film the same again. But that's the thing with me and Bill. We watch these films, and you hear yourself trying to pick out the logic, and you go, "What are we doing? Why are we trying to pick the logic out of these films?" But it's such a rich seam to dig out that one when you take film, especially like Gerard Butler's stuff, because it just doesn't make any sense.
Gerald.
Is it Gerald or Gerard? I don't know.
It is Gerard.
Gerald,
yeah, because you were saying that on your first episode, you kept going from Gerard to Gerald to Gerard to Gerald. Yeah.
I was nervous enough doing my first episode, recorded on my mobile phone, by the way, or a cell phone for the Americans. And so it wasn't great in that respect. And then I couldn't remember. And I decided, I'll just go with it, whatever. But it's stuck in my head now. So whenever I start talking about him, I'm like, Gerard. I can never, because I say Gerard and I think of the footballer. And then you think, I don't know. It's brains are funny things, aren't they?
You need to get Bill's wife on the show, on your show, and then, Madison, and then you can have Gerard on again because he was on P.S. I Love You in that film. But then again,
that one yet.
That would mean you're having to watch a chick flick.
I'm partially a chick flick, Matt. I've got to be honest. Yeah. What was it I watched recently? Ghosts of Girlfriends Past with McConaughey.
Yeah.
I watched, what's that one with Ryan Reynolds in it? Where he plays someone who's like overweight at the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah.
That one.
I can't remember what that's called either.
I'm not gonna lie. Anyway, that one. Love a bit of Bridget Jones. Watched that recently. That's always a good one. And the second one. I've reviewed those with my sister and my mum. My mum. Those episodes went completely off the rails. So yeah, I don't mind a good chick flick. I don't mind them. I think there's some decent stuff out there. The Holiday, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Love Actually is not bad. I mean, Bill Nighy's worth watching that film for anyway. I think he's hilarious in that film.
He's a classic British actor. Come on.
But he's just been nominated for an Oscar, hasn't he? Is that film where he plays somebody who's terminally ill? I can't remember what it's called. But, he's in Shaun the Dead, Hot Fuzz.
Yep.
What else? Oh, he's been in that. Oh, he's in, I'll tell you what he's in. He's in Pride, the film about miners.
Yep.
And the, LGB, I think it was at the time, group that raised money for the miners during the miners' strike. That's a hell of a film. He's really good in that. I feel like I'm missing more. He's done all sorts. He's in everything, isn't he?
Yeah. I think I've only seen one film that's up for the Oscars this year. And it's probably the first year I've seen a film that's up for the Oscars for Best Picture.
I don't think I've seen any of them. That
would be Top Gun Maverick.
Tell a lie. No, sorry, I've seen that. Yeah. Oh, I thought that was better than the original.
Yeah. I think it corrected some of the things that were very maybe questionable about the first film, the original, and it made it better.
Yeah, it was a hell of a film. It's been that long. I've only seen the original once. It's very of its time. It just in terms of it's very 80s, which I'm a 90s kid, so it doesn't mean like I watched Ferris Bueller's Day Off recently. It was good. I really enjoyed it, but it doesn't. I wasn't around, so I think it's different in your head, if that makes sense. I think it doesn't mean as much to you. So yeah, that was a good one. My point's gone. Yeah,
it's all right. I've already had arguments with people because I tell people that I switched off Breakfast Club after about 15 minutes because I was bored.
I've not seen it. I switched off one. No, what did I switch off? Oh, Captain Marvel after 46 minutes because I had better things to do with my time. One of the worst films I've ever tried to watch in my life. Anyway. Oh, shake that one off. Terrible.
Yeah,
Terrible.
it's like a bad taste that you can't get out of your mouth.
Yeah, that's one way of putting it.
Yeah.
Jesus.
So how do you choose then what films you talk about?
I was thinking about this. I honestly,
Yep.
I don't. The Defend It Yourself episodes are really good because people pick what they want to come on and defend. And that's been, well, for a start, it's more like I'm asking them, so it takes a bit off me. But also, they're making me watch films I've never seen before.
Yep.
Like Meet Joe Black. The majority of that series I've never seen before. The only time I didn't watch the film again was The Fifth Element. I couldn't watch it again. I watched 5 minutes and went, nah, I went through this once. I'm not watching it again. And I apologized. And instead of watching the film, I went and listened to an hour and a half of my guest's podcast episode. So I thought that was a fair exchange. I wasn't being
Yep.
rude to her. But to be honest, I pick what I fancy. And then it's strange sometimes. Or maybe it's genius. I don't know. They always say it's genius is madness. And right. But if I want to do a film, so I want to do a film about presidents. Like if like the Almost Presidents podcast popped up, I was like, oh yeah, I've got some podcasts for you guys. I've got some films for you guys. So then I'll go and say, would you like to come and do this? And I'd say, oh, if you want to come back, because you don't always click with people. It's the way it works, or they're busy or whatever. Yep. You think, oh, there's more to do, and that's just kind of how it works. Me and Sarah from Weird Horizon, who I do kind of Bigfoot, and there's an episode coming out soon about our plans for 2023. We just pick things to talk about, and we just have good fun talking about different conspiracy things. Or she's got a really interesting series coming up about different realities. Is all I'll say. I don't want to spoil it. And there's some stuff behind that. So I don't know. The Bake Off series was just because I was talking to Luke when we were doing a recording. I don't know what film we were reviewing, or probably a Bigfoot or something like that. And he'd mentioned he liked Bake Off. I was like, oh, would you like to do the series? But then that series was the TV series was that bad. I think we stopped after the quarterfinal. And bless Satu from Chat Tsunami jumped in because Luke was very, very busy towards the end of that. And I think he was as sickened off of watching it as I was. So we never actually finished that one. But I don't know. I just jump around. I try things. And if I feel like it doesn't really work, I did the podcast clinic, which was meant to be the start of another long-running series. I got a lot of podcasters in who I knew to do like voiceovers, and it was all about. I went in and I was sick of superheroes. It was going to be like a therapy session for me every week, with like Ben from Film Vloggers as the therapist, or vice versa, and that's with all these guests, and it worked, and I was really happy with it. But then the amount of time it took to bring all those bits together, and I thought I don't know. I thought, no, it wasn't kind of, it worked, but would I want to continue doing that? Because sometimes, I don't know about you, but you think if something takes you a long time, you think like the video podcasts I'm doing on the battlefield, you think, right, you need to stop thinking you're going to do these every month. You need to kind of, will it be every 2 months or whatever? And because I'm very much like, oh, I'll do this. And then you get into the reality of doing it and think, probably bitten off a bit more than I can chew. There was a hilarious moment recently, and I can't remember who it was, who asked me if I worked. Said, oh, do you work? I was like, what do you mean? This was like off mic. And I said, yeah, full time, like 5 days a week. And they were like, oh, I thought you did this full time. It's like, no. So, I mean, it's a compliment in one hand of I must put a lot out and it must be all right. But on the other hand, I was thinking, yeah, I work. And, you think, right, what can I do? And it's time consuming. It's not just recording it. It's then listening to it, editing it down, but it's changed. That my episodes seem to recently have all dropped to around an hour, or at least been edited back to an hour, because I think when I first started, they'd go on too long, or not too long. I just felt like, when you listen to it and you think, if I'm losing my interest by now, then people listening will. Not all the time, but I think I've learned over the past year and a bit to try and know when to end an episode and be like, right, that was great. This is my verdict. What do you think? I've tried all sorts. Stuff that didn't work. Not stuff didn't work, but I tried to bring in segments and we're going to do this. And sometimes you can just think, oh, that was too much preparation. I like what I want my podcast to be.
Yep.
Because I wrote this down to say at the beginning, what I wanted the podcast, might be later on, what I wanted the podcast to be, and I know it sounds a bit cliched, but I wanted it to be like you were like in a pub or something and you were overhearing two mates talking. That's what I want my podcast to be, a conversation. Like I've had feedback, because I did ask for feedback at one point a while ago from other podcasters about how do you think I could improve? And some of the stuff was really like, well, cut out the tangents and do this. And I was thinking, but most of my show's a tangent. So I'd have nothing left. I'd have like 20 minutes of us talking just about films. But if you want that, then there are podcasts out there who are very some are scripted, but they're very like prescriptive, very structured. We do this is the rating of it. This is a bit like Bill's, but not about ratings. So I never wanted mine to be that. I like it to be more conversational when I give the person a chance to speak and I don't just ramble on like I am now. But yeah.
Well, you're the guest, so you're allowed to do that.
I know. I have had to train myself to not interrupt my guest as much, but it's difficult because some people I podcast with, I've never seen them.
Yeah.
Like for anyone listening, I can see Marv now, and we're on video, so he can see me. And you try and go off someone's cues of when they want to talk and stuff like that. But when you're doing it to a blank screen with a name in the middle of it, you don't know. There's one of the episodes that went out that I was really kind of embarrassed about because I did it with some Americans, and some parts of America talk more slowly than others, whereas I'm aware, even where I live, I've had people I work with say this, I talk very, very fast, and I've cooled how quick I'm talking now, so I talk very fast. I think a lot of people where I'm from talk fast. A lot of Americans don't talk that quick, so they'd talk and do a sentence, and I'd try and jump in, and this was back when I was single track, so I couldn't even cut it out. And they would continue in talking, and it sounded, when I listened back to it, I thought, oh God. It was one I did with Bill where the audio, well, you know which one, and the audios weren't right.
Yep.
And it sounded like I was shouting over him, but I wasn't. It was just because my audio was, I think that was a different one actually. My audio was so much higher than his, it just sounded like I was like cutting him off. And I was like, oh, this sounds awful. So I've tried to learn to let my guests talk, but then sometimes that backfires on you. Sometimes you get someone who, amazingly for a podcast, doesn't, like, they don't give you a lot to work with, and you're like, all right, so what do you think of that bit? And then you're like, oh, okay. So then you feel a need to have to do it. Some people have different expectations of being a guest. I think some people think, oh, get in, I can go on somebody else's and I can relax and just throw bits in. Whereas I think, well, I'd like it to be a two-way street rather than me doing it, most of it, and then going, so what did you think about this bit? Because that's not the way I like to do things. But, you know, it's always going to happen. I'm never afraid to get somebody new on. You might have noticed.
Yeah. That for anyone interested, if you look up a video, it's famous over here. There was an interview on a breakfast television show with the magician David Blaine, and so we know the presenter Eamon Holmes, and he was trying to interview David Blaine. And he didn't talk at all, David Blaine. He just had this little dot painted on his hand, and every time Eamon Holmes asked a question, he just went and showed his hand and then kept quiet. And it's a difficult, that must have been a terrible interview. I don't know whether you've seen that.
I haven't, but I see your hand and I'll play you another one. I will check that out, by the way. But there's another one that's a classic, and I recommended this to Bill and a few other people actually. Bruce Willis, when he went on the One Show. The One Show, for anybody listening from outside of the UK, is kind of like a light-hearted, kind of like a Good Morning America, but it's not in the morning. Anyway, light-hearted, it does the odd thing, and they have different guests on. Anyway, bit of a fluff piece. They won't know what that means. Doesn't matter. And they had Bruce Willis on good God, I don't blame the guy. He was trying to promote A Good Day to Die Hard, which is just an abomination. But anyway, and he was awful, absolutely awful on it. He barely talks. They're like, oh, so Bruce, and he's just like, yeah. And they're like, oh, so what do you show? And then they bring up the title of the film. I think it was Matt Baker, and I'm not sure which presenter it was. I think maybe the one they've got now. I can't remember. the Welsh lady, I can't whatever her name is, and they say, "Oh, so what about the title? Bruce, A Good Day to Die Hard," and he's like, "Yeah, it's like one of those things. Sometimes it's a bit of a strange title, really. Like, what are you gonna do? Get up, brush your teeth, go to the mall, and then it's a good day to die hard." And you're like, "Where, Bruce? What are you doing?" Like, he's just so disinterested. And he actually came out afterwards and apologized and said, "I was jet lagged." And you were like, "All right, okay," but that's a class one to watch. I've massacred it, but that's a genius one to watch. It's so awkward, and it's not just because, and it's not like a case of the differences between like the way British people and Americans are. He's almost like so dour and won't really talk much. They're really struggling. Like you can see, it's like towards the end of the show where they do the plug, a bit like podcasting. You shameless plug time, Bruce. What film are you bringing out? And it's like he doesn't seem interested at all, at all. It's great to watch. Great.
So anyway, you've touched on. We're going to get to this now. You've touched on it sort of. So you've kept it fresh, the show, because it started one way and then it's changed over time, and you have all these offshoots. So let's see if you can remember what the offshoots are and how you came about them.
Oh, joyous. Okay, yeah. So the regular Review It Yourself episodes.
Yep.
The Soggy Bottoms Bake Off. Defend It Yourself. Pick It Yourself. Yeah, that really was one of them.
So long as that's not about noses.
No, or anywhere else. No, it was just someone gave me a lot of DVDs, and the idea was that I would pick one out and watch it. I did one episode knowing that was a joke, that one, that I was going to do a new series about that. Oh God, what else? Oh, Visit It Yourself. The Breaking Bill, of course, which is now changed into Beverages with Bill. What else? Did the Podcast Clinic, did the Bill Reed's Bad Reviews one, you can kind of call that one. Oh God, what else? There's going to be more. There will be more. Yeah, there's been a lot, to be fair, but I just do it because I just think it's good fun. And if some things work and I continue. Oh yes, sorry, the other one, Explain It Yourself, which is finished.
Oh yeah.
That was an idea that I thought would really work, and there was some alright episodes, but it just didn't work as well as I wanted it to. If that makes sense. Or maybe I need to tweak it and go back. But the Defend It Yourself seemed to be quite popular in terms of the listens were all right and people were wanting to do it.
Yep.
Like, I mean, what are we on 14 or 15? I think with the ones that I've got waiting to go out, and people seem to really gravitate to that because everybody's got a film that everybody else said, "Oh, that's awful." Batman and Robin. That's kind of where the idea came from.
Yep.
I've no doubt there's podcasts who do it as a full thing. I didn't look, but I thought, oh, there's something in that. And then I obviously Defend It. Yeah, Defend It Yourself. Yeah, all right. That sounds a good idea. And people seem to like that one. I'm trying to think if there are any more. MCU It Yourself, of course, which is gone. I'm not doing that anymore. That went onto Patreon, and then I couldn't be bothered doing it anymore because I don't want to do it. There's okay, so not to plug my Patreon, but there is another side series that people won't have seen unless they've been on it. MCU It Yourself. So it's the only time I've changed it, and it's not an It Yourself. It's I haven't done this yet in a recording because I'm due to do the second one. But it's you know how you have the whole Review It Yourself. The new series for the patrons is called Now It's Special. That's the new series for them. So I'm doing John Wayne's going to be a lot of them, but some classics. I did Hondo 1956, I think, or 57. That was great. God, they don't make them like that anymore.
Nope.
Like, what a film. So I think I'm going to be doing like the Sisters of Katie Elder and stuff like that. Doing all these. I've got like 15 John Wayne films to do. Then I thought, well, what else can I do? And I think I'm going to go back and do a lot of older films.
Yep.
Because I think we've taken a bit of a misstep. I think we've gone down the wrong road with films, but I won't get it. Everyone knows by now for listening to our podcast. We were doing so well and we've lost our way slightly. So, oh God, is that all of them? There's bound to be. God, I didn't realize I'd done that many. I think that's it. I hope that's it. If not, it's embarrassing if not.
But that's to keep your interest, though, isn't it? And you're just experimenting with the format, and you're trying to make it more for you. It because essentially, if nobody's realised, podcast, you don't really get that much out of it unless your name's Joe Rogan or whatever. So a lot of it is about you having fun doing it. So you will tweak here and there.
Well, you've got to, and I think unless I'm gonna mention Bill again, but unless like yourself, Marv, unless you hit upon a format or something that were like yours and Bill's are very similar in that you know what the point is. Like that's the joke, no point, right? With mine, you know what the point is. Outside of films, like it started off, it changed. It was only, well, I can't believe I forgot to say this. It was going to be films I'd never seen ever, and that lasted about 6 episodes before I got fed up. It probably didn't even last that long because you want to talk about the Mummy and you want to do the Mummy Returns stuff. So that finished. Then it was just going to be films. Then I thought, well, you like documentaries, all the Titanic stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not really satires, but I've done Titanic stuff. Then I thought, oh, okay, well, if you're going to do that, documentaries. Oh, I want to do the odd TV. Why don't you talk about Still Game? Right, okay, so it's going to be TV, it's going to be films, it's going to be documentaries. And then I think then it became about different sports because I did the Explain It Yourself stuff. So it just became all these different things. And I think, yeah, it probably is to keep my interest because, you don't get a lot of feedback. You get them from podcasters, but you don't get a lot of like listener feedback. You might get the odd rating on Apple or you can see people have starred you on like Spotify or whatever, but or good pods if you're lucky, or Podchaser. Yeah. But outside of that, like day to day, you don't get a lot back, and I think you've got to keep yourself like if there's ever a point where it feels like a job, then I think it's time to stop. And that happened to me just before Christmas or the back end of last year. I came very close to finishing because I just thought my ratings, like I don't know what happened. I don't know if it was just the time of year, but the listens just dropped off a cliff. And I thought for a good 6 weeks, and I thought, right, well, the interest has gone. Like, but then what stopped me was like I wouldn't be able to talk to like Bill. Well, not that I wouldn't be able to, but like you'd lose the talking to Bill and having such a good laugh, and talking to Ben, film talking, talking to Sarah and Luke, and all these. I'll mention loads of people later in my record, but and what stopped me, and that's why I came back after Christmas, and I thought, right, rename the Breaking Bill, because we'd stopped doing the Breaking bit, we'd stopped doing awful films, we'd started doing films we like Armageddon and stuff, and there was, I don't know where the soda or the fizzy pop idea came from. Oh, I think it came from the Decision Reel, because I went on there and they were drinking Arnold Palmer's. I'd never heard of that, so I made myself one and did an episode with Bill, and then I'd done a few episodes with what podcast trio with beers and lags and stuff. So I thought, okay, let's do something with beverages. And that's where the Beverages with Bill came from. So I thought, change that up, go for a different run. And then I thought, right, launch into the change the patron bit a little bit and actually start putting, this isn't a good sell, but start putting stuff out regularly for the patrons, because I wanted it to be regular, but then I ended up doing all the public stuff. And I thought, no, you need to. So I'm trying to get that balance. But I launched it this year, I think, in the first week and a half. I'd done about 8 recordings. It was just it was just day after day, which is good because it tells me I'm enjoying it. I do that, and then I've got a couple of months where I know I can, because when I first started, I used to record and it'd be out the next day or the night. Yep. And then you find yourself releasing too much. That's not good if you clip that soundbite out. But then you start like moving stuff about and you think, am I releasing it at the right time? This, that, and the other. So I don't know. It's trial and error. I talked to a podcaster once who was like, oh, I was planning for like 6 months before I started. I said, what do you mean? Just turn it on and start. No one's proud of their first episode. If anybody ever says, oh yeah, my first episode's great, like you're lying to yourself. You might have thought it's nice to look back on. Like I'd have deleted mine if it wasn't for the fact that we'll just keep it for.
Unless it's Bill.
Well,
he hit the ground running straight away.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, Bill, does he rehearse? He's very slick, put it that way. Not in a bad way. I must say, like, because I know slick can be used. I don't know if it is in America. I know it can be used in a bad way. I don't mean it like that. Polished, that's a better way of putting it.
Yeah.
He knows what he's doing. Like, you can go back and listen to his early ones. The only thing that's changed with Bill's though, and I did point this out to him, is when Bill first started, he didn't do his own opinions.
Yep.
That took a while to. I don't know when I can't remember when he started the opinion warning, but when he first started, he was very like doing what they said, and that was kind of it. And his personality like grows into the show. If you listen to it from like as I went back and you listened from when he first started, so I think he started a month before, not long before me. I can't remember. So he like grew into it. You can hear his personality comes to the forefront. Same with mine. If you went back and listened to Reluctant Reviews, well, for one, I'm under a pseudonym, which is just a joking nickname.
Yep.
And I'm so square in it. I didn't swear. I was the one who was going, made for a good dynamic, but I was the one going, is this relevant? Can we stay on track? So it's very different to what I'm like now, where I'm like, yeah, go for a tangent. Who's fussed? Because people will listen to it or they won't. Like there's a million film podcasts out there. I don't know if there's that many. There's a lot out there. So people are going to listen for you, I think, because so that's what they're going to listen for the majority of the time, because they can get it from a lot of other places. So I think that's part of where I never tried to do anything to like. I'd love to be like Bill, really enthusiastic. Yep. It's not my way. I like the most enthusiastic I get is like if I review The Mummy. And I loved it. Or when I did Liar Liar, which was a solo review way back when I just did impressions all the way through it, and I did the Here Goes, and that episode starts with me because it hasn't been listened to a lot, which is a shame. But go for anybody listening, go back and listen to the Liar Liar episode, because I start that by doing the whole WORK like in the kid's voice. Now it starts with the teacher and that, and I love doing that one. Because up until that point, I was very kind of like talking through the films, and I overused the word obviously and and ooze, and just thought, get on with it. Whereas now I'm a lot more relaxed than I used to be. I was always very kind of worried about what you're saying, and I said this, and I didn't used to swear. Although I don't swear with Bill.
No,
it's like swearing at your gran.
Yeah.
I accidentally messaged him with the F word in once, and I felt so guilty. I forgot. I forgot who I was talking to, and we were having technical difficulties, and I said, this effing thing. And I was like, sorry, Bill. Sorry. I'm so sorry. But yeah.
But you just reminded me, actually, you were talking, and then I thought it reminded me about eventually Bill got his staff for the show. Eventually, that started, with him going off screen, going away from the mic and going, hey, whose joke was that? Who wrote this? And this sort of thing.
Oh, yeah.
And then there was a cracking episode of yours. Cracking is an English thing, by the way. But a cracking episode of yours where you actually did that. And it was like you had Bill's staff in the background, and you turned away from camera and did the whole Bill thing. So you did the Bill impression or the Bill thing before December.
Yeah. Oh, that was a while back, I think. Was that when he was on? I can't remember how it came about, but I think I was trying to come up with how to do something, and I listened to it, and I thought, that's a really good idea. So I just thought, I'm just going to steal it. And it's all like, don't know. Oh, they're back. They've gone to America. Damn it. Like that was the kind of, but I don't mind doing silly little things like that, because it's very, it's not a bad thing, but it's very kind of, I'm trying to say rip offable, which isn't a word.
Yeah.
It's very easy to mimic Bill's podcast. It's like, what beats he's going to hit. But I love the more he does them. I've not said to him yet, but the more he does them, the more his own personality is coming into it. And I like the most recent one where he's even poking fun at his own jokes, which is how his most recent episode ends. And Dave, get off the table. And like that, where did all that come from? Yeah. It's just like, you're driving home laughing to yourself. People looking at you. But yeah, his episodes is good fun. Really enjoy him.
Yeah. I'll go on record. I've said this before. So review it yourself. Stew World Order and Bill Reed's Bad Reviews are the three shows that I love to listen to on the way into work or back from work, because it's just pure joy throughout, and you get all the laugh. I can't stop giggling occasionally as well.
Yeah, I remember. See, this is what you when you get feedback as a podcaster, no matter who it's from, you really enjoy it. I can't remember. Oh no, I think it was the not Bill Reed's where He'd sent me a message or commented saying I spat my coffee out or something like that, and I thought that'll do. But that's all you want. You just
then you sent me a message, didn't you, recently, and you said something about Marv. When you're listening to this one, just make sure you're not drinking your coffee at the same time.
Yeah, because I listen back to it because I don't realize like my job is talking to people is as far as I can explain that. I meet a lot of people through the day and I talk to them and give them advice and all this. And so I'm used to talking to different people, but sometimes when I say something, I don't mean it to sound as it does. So when I listen back, because I try and listen back to it as if I'm not me. That sounds a bit weird, but I try and listen back to it as if it's just an episode I'm listening to, which is difficult, of course. And sometimes I hear it and think, what do you like? There's an episode out there where, and this was not meant to offend, and it did, but it came out something like, I was trying to explain it. I was quite, and I think I said something like, the guy walks to the door and answers. Well, he doesn't walk; he's in a wheelchair, so he go. And I remember listening back to it, and I was like, and I had no idea like how it sounded like, but it wasn't, and it sounded like I was trying to joke about it, but I wasn't. It was just the way I'd gone. So he walks. No, he doesn't walk over his wheelchair. He goes over the door, and I just thought, what do you do? It's just the way I describe. I think sometimes there's one. I don't know when this comes out or when it'll be out, but I've just reviewed Rob. Oh God, I've just reviewed Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 with Clayton from Men Who Like Movies, and dear God, it was so bad. I changed my intro. I do the most horrendous analogy you've ever heard in your life, about Rob Zombie, and honestly, it's don't drink when you listen to that one, like, because I was like irritated with how bad the film was, and you could hear it. That was that should be an interesting one because you don't realize how irritated I was, like, and bless Clayton, he really likes it, and he was like, well, this bit and that bit, and he's always a joy to talk to, and he was trying to like defend it, and you could hear me going, no, I'm not having it. Like, well, he tried something different, and then after he says he tried something different, that was when I go off on one saying, and I won't spoil it, but it's listening back, I was like, what are you doing? What are you talking about? So yeah, but that's, or sometimes when I don't realize how other people have said something and I've either missed it or that's some of the joys of doing it with Bill, because sometimes he says something, or when I've done episodes with Ben from Film Floggers as well, when I started an episode on his and I started saying, it was War of the Worlds we did on Film Floggers, and I tried, because I like to be well informed. But I started talking about American football teams, I think, or baseball teams. See, I can't even get that right. And I went, oh, is it New York? And then Ben's like, don't embarrass yourself, Sean. And so that was like, yeah. I didn't catch that at the time. I was just like, oh, whatever it is. And listening back to it, I was absolutely killed me. So I like the conversation with people, and if I've got a few brothers and sisters, but I've got a brother who is naturally very, very funny. He just is. I've been told, and I think it's true, I'm funniest when I'm not trying to be funny. When I'm just either losing my temper. I
get told the same.
Like if I've lost my temper, or not lost my temper, but if I'm annoyed at something, or I'm like passionate about something, people have said, you sound really funny, and I'm like, I don't mean it that way. You've got to watch yourself and work. But people have said, did you mean it that? Oh no, like, oh no, like, oh, it was really funny. I'm like, no, I'm not that clever to come up with that. So I don't know. I forget half the time. I'm like, now I forget it goes out to everybody. So it's going to be a shocking point if it ever picks up and does anywhere near, half as well as other things. And people are like, oh yeah, you talked about this. I'm like, did I? How'd you know that? Yeah, good fun. I do enjoy it.
Before we go to this first listeners question, I'm chomping at the bit here. I've got a couple of suggestions for you. Are you ready for this?
Yeah, of course I am. Yeah.
So first of all, you could pre-record some Christmas episodes with people so you can put them out over the Christmas season.
It's not a bad idea. I'm meant to. I've done it backwards. Halloween episodes are now coming out now. Christmas episodes are coming out now. Well, they're not. I hadn't done them, but I started to do Christmas type films now, and then so it was supposed to, but I was like I said it for Christmas. I was a bit like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to keep doing this much longer.
Yep.
And then I thought, right, have a bit of a break for Christmas. And to be fair, I went away in December. Didn't know I was going away. That's a whole other story. And ended up going away for 8 days, whatever it was. It was beautiful. Hot weather in December. So I came back like a week before Christmas. So a lot. I tell a lie. I was supposed to do the Grinch with the
Right.
podcast trio, and I think was not very well. I was meant to do. What else was I meant to do? Was I going to do a film with Ben? Or were we going to do something Christmas related? And I had a few, like 2 or 3 things, and then it just never really happened. So I was meant to, but like you said, you asked me earlier about planning. I don't really plan.
No.
And I'm one of these people, I've always been a bit belligerent maybe, but I'm one of these people, like if everybody else is doing, like everyone's doing 25 years of Home Alone or whatever, and they're all doing that, I'm like, oh yeah, but I've just been to see this National Theatre Live about, Leopoldstadt and a Jewish family. I'll go watch that and review that instead.
Loved that
because
episode.
I think, that's come out of nowhere. And I am going to be doing more National Theatre Live. I'm going to see, what am I seeing tomorrow? Oh, what is it? The Crucible.
Yes.
They're showing The Crucible, National Theatre Live, The Crucible. They're showing, I'm going to go see my first opera. It's National Theatre Opera.
Yep.
It's not the Magic Figaro, but that's on. It's, what is it? My auntie sent me it saying, oh, this is coming on. So I like to do, Alien and Aliens is coming back in the cinemas.
Yep.
I'll probably do those. I've agreed to do the Alien series, kind of. It won't be Xenomorph Yourself, although that is quite a cool title. But sorry. Anyway, go on. Sorry. So I don't know. I flit about all over the place.
And this other suggestion, you ready for this? I think this is a cracker. This one, ready? So introduce Bill to old British series like, Porridge, Dad's Army, It Ain't Half Hot Mum, that are specifically British that you know damn well that he's not seen.
Oh, can you imagine Bill reviewing Steptoe & Son? Because the Americans love Sanford and Son, don't they? And think that, and I've heard it's good. I've never seen it. Yep. But Steptoe & Son, tell you what, I'd love to get Bill to do. I don't know if he can get a copy of it. I would love it. And I only saw this the last few years. I've got the box set. The Rise and Fall of Reginald Perrin. Can you imagine Bill reviewing that? So I probably need to definitely get him to do. Maybe pick an episode and say, we'll review this. Because it'll either go well or it won't. But I'm bringing another dimension in with my Bill recordings in the next one we're going to do. So we're going to review Angels Falling, finishing the flipping Geraldathon, whatever it is. And I've got a quiz about Texas. And I haven't told them what it is. Like all these strange facts about Texas and what's this and what's that. I just want to see him squirm. I think it's going to be good fun. And he's always up for a good laugh. There's lots coming up. I do like that idea though. I will. We see me and Bill have got that many things like, we'll do this, we'll do that, we'll do this film. And then you find out he hasn't seen Volcano. It's like, right, get this in quick.
Yep. Yeah. Right. We're leading into a question. Ready?
Yep.
Hi there, Marv. It is Stu from SWO Productions and the Stu World Order podcast. And I, of course, have one question for my good buddy Sean, and it does not involve Batman and Robin, though I suppose it should. We should always talk about that. But my question for Sean is, Sean, how many more show ideas are you going to have by the end of 2023? Because I think you're running yourself a little ragged. Review it yourself, defend it yourself, visit it yourself. What else yourself can we look forward to by the end of this year? All right, that's all I got for you guys. Thank you so much for letting me come in with my question. Both of you have a fantastic show, which I am sure you already are.
Don't you think Stu has like the most amazing? Don't you think if he was born in the 1930s or the 1920s, he would be like a radio presenter in the 40s? Like he'd have been great. What a great question. Did make me laugh. I was expecting him to say Batman and Robin, but all right, Stu, thanks for your question. Absolutely spot on. I thought you were going to say, see, this is the difference. This is the difference, right? If Stu was British, he'd have said, you know, it's wearing a bit thin this now. You're taking the mick out of us. But he wasn't. He was really polite and was like, you know, you're running yourself a bit ragged. Well, there was an idea that actually was originally meant to be a joke. So I'm doing the Visit It Yourself series, which is Battlefields. There's only one out, but I plan to make that more of a regular thing whilst keeping the quality up as far as I can. But there was a joke that I was going to do a series called See It Yourself, as in the sea. And it was going to do, because there was a battle that took place off the coast of like the Humber, like kind of Yorkshire, anyway, the northeast of England a bit, that was actually between the navies of England and America. And I thought, oh, that's got to be worth doing. And that came from somebody at work who'd been to a memorial for that battle and said, oh, Sean, you like history. I went here and I went, oh, I've never heard of that. American Navy. Oh, I'll have a look at that. So that was originally a joke. But it is something, whether it'll be 2023, who knows? But I'll definitely do that. Even if it's just a shot of the sea and some nice cliffs and me talking. That's how I plan to get the rest of the world in. Like, oh, look at these nice pictures. Look at this lovely field. And then hit them with the history. That's my idea anyway. So yeah, great question. Oh, there's loads, Stu. I can ring this out like you wouldn't believe. See it yourself. Also, I've literally at a certain point you start coming up with things as a bit of a joke, thinking, oh, what can I do now? What could I do? It's yeah.
Listen to it yourself.
Yeah, that's not a bad one. I did have an idea to try and make the show a little bit more actually live up to its name, in that I would get people to send me like their opinion of the film. But I get that from my guests.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of work. I like to be, you know, not lazy, but I like to make it as easy as I can. So yeah. Oh, there's loads to do. I haven't done Do It Yourself yet. So I've got to complete the set, haven't I?
Yep, I can see that now. You know, you'll have video footage of yourself going into IKEA and picking out what you're going to do yourself, and then put it up in the back room and be cursing there, trying to find the bloody Allen key.
You know what I did once, and this never. Yeah, I had to scrap it, but I actually recorded. It was through my phone because it's the only way I could do it. Yeah. I actually recorded an episode. It was meant to just be for Bill as a joke, right? I do talk to other people rather than Bill, and I'm not in love with him. Anybody wondering? He's just funny. I was going to send him, and I recorded an episode, but I was making like me, my mum, and my dad an English breakfast, but it lost its way because the bacon was really streaky. I couldn't find oil. I think was it my nephew came in and started talking to me halfway through it, and it just became a mess. I did an episode. I recorded an episode with my mum and my dad about Way Out West, which is one of the best Laurel and Hardy film, one of the best films, one of the funniest films you'll ever see. Yep. And with my mum, and it got ruined because halfway down my dad came down and he had a splinter in his finger and was looking for tweezers, so that got scrapped. So although like listen to it probably would be quite amusing, but yeah, there's a point where you think, right, how real does this really, like how far do you push it? Oh, there's plenty of stuff out there. Don't you worry. But it's almost become a bit of a joke now. Like, what can I try? Because I'll try any daft idea once. I will.
Well, you could actually just video yourself with your family watching television and responding to it, a bit Gogglebox style.
Yeah, a bit Royal Family. Yeah. I had that idea when I was in school. You had to do some kind of art project, but I don't think I was allowed to do it. And plus, it wouldn't have got the language wouldn't be bad, but my dad would just wind me up, start saying things like controversially that he doesn't mean, but he says it just to get my reaction. But I've always wanted to do a series with my dad, right, for the podcast, which would be like 1 minute reviews, where I would, because that's what my dad's reviews are like.
Yeah,
like he watched that Banshees of Inisherin, whichever one. A lad at work said, oh, and the lad at work favourite film was In Bruges, right? Which is great. It's got Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson in it. And he went to see the Banshees of Inisherin, and he said, I hated it. I thought it was awful. And then my dad, because I think, has it just gone on? What's it just gone on? Is it Disney Plus?
I don't know.
Yes, I think it's gone on Disney Plus or whatever it's gone on. And I said, "Oh, Dad, it's on here. Do you want to watch it? 'Cause I've got Disney Plus." And he said, "Oh, yeah." So he watched it. Or did he? I can't remember. He went to cinema. Whatever. He's seen it anyway. I meant to ask, and because he gets reduced now because he's over 65. We're not at the cinema. Anyway, I think he does it. He saw it anyway. So he went to see it, and he came back, and I said, "Oh, was it any good?" Because he doesn't go to the cinema much. And he said, "Oh," he said, "Well," he said, it was all about now, really." He said it was all right. I laughed at a few bits, but I said, "Any worth watching?" Not really. That's what my dad's reviews are like.
Yeah.
And I can't do it justice. But I've always thought that would be good to do. My dad probably wouldn't want to do it, but that's what my dad's reviews are like. And the annoying thing is 9 times out of 10 he's absolutely spot on. He's absolutely spot on. The film we disagree the most about is Inception, but he slept halfway through it. So I'm like, Dad, you can't fall asleep to Inception and wake up and expect to understand it.
No.
It's not going to happen.
No. That's another one now. You could have just, whenever you do films, you could just get your dad's take on it and have that as just a segment in the show.
Yeah, I should really, because he'll recommend he'll recommend a series to me, or I recommended Dope Sick.
Yep.
If anyone's not seen that, I said, "Oh, Dad, it's on Disney Plus. Like, do you want to watch it when I'm at work?" "Oh, yeah." So he watched it. I said, "Oh, it's Michael Keaton. Brilliant. 8 episodes and done," which is a big thing because my dad loves this series. He's watched more German, Finnish, Swedish, bloody Norwegian crime series that you shake a stick at.
Yep.
And all sorts. He like German, we'll watch anything. And I said, "Oh, watch this Dope Sick." But the problem with watching an American shows is that sometimes they cancel them. Like me and my dad loved that series. It was called Awake with Jason Isaacs, where he's in separate realities. Great show. Cancel the bloody thing. So we try to find out. And I said, "Oh, no, Dad, it's 8 episodes and done." And, Netflix dragging their series out and out and out and out. Stranger Things amazing. And then you just drag it out. Cobra Kai amazing. Drag it out. I always check first. And he enjoyed it. He said, "Oh, yeah, it was all right," which is high praise from my dad. So don't get anything easy. We're like that. We'll always recommend different things to each other. Because when I was younger, you'd watch them together on a night or whatever. But
yeah,
I work now and stuff. So you're a lot busier and things. So no, so we've always been interested in films and TV shows, but very straightforward in terms of, like, if I don't like something, I'll tell you why. And I've no doubt anybody making a film, even the one with 2017.
Yep.
I've no doubt everybody making that was trying to do the best they could. Like, it's not like they were trying to make a bad film. They just so happened to make just this horrendous film. It's not their fault. And if someone loves it, great. But I've got my opinion about it, and I'm not going to be swayed on it because I don't like. Yeah, but I'm not. I don't like a film. That's about it. I'm not going to kind of sugarcoat it. I'm not going to be like positive about it. I'll just say, well, this is about it, but the rest of it was terrible. Because I love when people do that, because you see it all the time, and you can on some podcasts you can hear it. Because I try and branch out and listen to others, just to see what other people are doing. And you hear people going, "Oh, well, the acting wasn't great and the direction wasn't very good, the script wasn't great, but overall it was okay." And I think that's the whole film. Like, what do you mean? Like, you can't say the script and the pacing and the direction and the acting was bad, and then say 6 out of 10. No, 2, 3 at best. Like, what are you? But no, everyone's got their own opinion. That's what I love about films. Everyone's opinion is like so different.
It's like when you get a great review for your podcast and then it's 4 stars and you think, what did you knock me 1 star off for?
Yeah, or like with me, because I've got 2 1-star reviews now. One's on Apple, one's on what's the other one? Somewhere. But neither of them left, like, didn't leave a review. And I'm like, I love the fact I've got one, because you make it when you get your 1 star. But I thought you could have told me what it was.
Yeah.
Because at least then I'd be like, well, it might just be what you like or what you don't like, but to just 1 star and then run. So, oh, come on. even if it was like your accent's awful or you talk about Bill too much, I'll take that. I'll take that. Or you like baked beans? All right, I'll take that. Oh, baked beans.
Baked beans.
Freaks the Americans out. I love it, me. I love it. One of my most like interacted with posts was when I was at work and I posted a picture of I had beans with little sausages on toast. Oh, they lost their minds. Not just about the little sausages or the beans. The fact the bread was toasted. It was glorious. It was absolutely brilliant. And I think didn't, it's just funny. It's not, I don't go on my way to annoy people, but I just thought, because I thought, I wonder what people will think of this. Tag Bill in it, and people were like, "What is that?" I was like, "It's beans on toast." Because I've said, speaking of Stu's question earlier, don't worry, Stu. I've been it yourself. That'll be on soon. That'll be up. There's something. I'll have to do something with Beans and Bill. A podcast. There'll be something. Don't take it out of context, people. There'll be something that comes. I don't know what it'll be. I don't. I've said to him, I keep drinking all these American drinks. I need to send you a tin of Heinz. I sent him a spoon. I sent Bill a spoon.
Yeah.
So, which came from, what's the most ridiculous thing I can give away? And I just got them as like a joke, just, in case I got a lot of patrons. And I thought, what's the most useless thing I can give away?
Yeah.
And then that was it. Oh, I'm not getting a engraved spoon. That'll do.
Yeah.
So I sent him the spoon.
Yeah. I got a good screen grab of him with the spoon, didn't I, when he was opening it on the video, and I got this screen grab of him, and he's just like,
his face was brilliant. It was worth it.
It's brilliant.
Worth the postage for that, honestly, because I didn't tell him what it was. Oh, I'm sending you something. All right. Didn't have a clue what it was.
Do you know what? We might as well go straight for it. Here we go.
What's going on, Sean and Marv? Bill from BRBR here, obviously. And whenever Marv asked me if I had any questions for Sean to put on the show as an audio bite, I said, "You bet I do. I got more every day." So I got two questions here. So Sean, first question is, you're a movie guy. I'm a movie guy. What makes you tick as far as like watching movies? Like what motivates you, like as someone who loves to watch movies, enjoy movies, and all kinds, like my guy, you love movies from the Titanic to the Mummy, two greats like that, all the way down to, yes, Batman and Robin. Yes, I know. I had to mention it. That's my first question, is what makes you really tick as a movie guy? Because we all got our ticks here, watching different movies, and which movies we kind of enjoy and which ones we don't enjoy.
I'm pausing it there.
Good. I was typing it out so I didn't forget. What makes me tick? That's such a good question. I knew he'd have a good question. Of course he has a good one.
It's Bill.
I don't know. What do you think he means? What do you think? I might need help with this, Marv. What do you think? I'm being genuine about that. What do you think he means by what makes me tick? Does he mean in terms of what films I like to watch, or?
I think so. Do you have a specific? I think he probably means, do you have a specific thing that you go for with films? Maybe, I don't know.
Not the prequel trilogy, Bill. No, I'm joking. I'm joking, Bill. I'm joking. No, I don't. I don't know. I was thinking about this because I knew I was coming on this. I really like films set in space.
Yeah.
Like one of my favorite films in the last 10 years, The Martian. Love that. I got the extended set. I like films with a bit of mystery, bit of conspiracy. Like I love films like The Da Vinci Code, Angels and Demons. I like my documentaries. I also like my dumb action films. Day After Tomorrow, 2012. I could watch those every day and I'd never get bored. Armageddon, Volcano, Dante's Peak. Oh, we'll be doing Dante's Peak, me and Bill at some. No, sorry, not me, Bill. Me and Ben from Bill. Me and Ben from Film Floggers.
Yep.
I just have a lot of films, and I've tried to branch out the cowboy stuff, the John Wayne stuff, because my dad's dad watched that stuff when my dad was younger, and my dad watched a lot of cowboy stuff. When I don't even know if he likes it or if he just watches it because he watched it with his dad. I don't know, but we watched a lot of cowboy films now he's younger, and I remember. You think about the first films you've seen. I remember one of my earliest memories of films is John Wayne's fighting on a roof with like a bad guy, and they fall off the saloon like balcony, and the bad guy lands and it gets impaled on his bullhorn. That's like,
yep.
Whatever film that is. I'll no doubt find it when I rewatch it. So that was always in the background, like the Star Trek stuff, because my dad, the Star Trek the original series is like on our baby videos in the background. I have that or football.
Yep.
proper football, Bill. And so
Not handball.
no, oh yeah, go Aggies, like that. So yeah, I don't know really. I like things that are, I don't know. I like things that are, well, that are good. I don't know. It's a strange one. I like James Cameron films, but I've got a very eclectic mix. When we come to films I haven't seen later, oh, there's a lot on there. There's a lot, like, really, and I'm like, I know, I do know, but I don't know. If I flick through my set, I like a lot of action stuff, but I also I like films about mountaineering. I find that I'm terrified of heights, but I find that fascinating. I've always liked a good disaster film, love a good disaster series, aircraft investigation or sex and disaster or something like that. Always a family joke, like, oh, you won't watch anything unless someone dies in it. Well, never been that hot into like natural history. Like, I can watch the odd Attenborough, but it doesn't do a lot for me.
Yep.
David Attenborough, brother of the actor Richard Attenborough from The Great Escape and all sorts of stuff. He does like nature documentaries over here, Planet Earth, all sorts for the Americans listening. Surely they know who he is, but you never know, do you? So, this is me thinking I'm on my own show again. Sorry, Marv. Where was I going with that? I don't know, Bill. To be perfectly honest with you, if I watch a film and I like it, then some films I love. I love Bond, except every film after Quantum of Solace I've thought has been absolutely terrible. Which I know is a bit of a shocking thing to say, but I think they've been awful since then. Love the Pierce Brosnan stuff. I love his Bond films. I think they're absolutely brilliant. Die Another Day, it's not great, but still better than No Time to Die. You're not convincing me otherwise.
Yeah.
It was awful. Just Bond deconstructed out. Like, nobody wants that. I'm sorry, nobody wants it. I don't know. I love my history. So, films like The Pianist. There's some films I won't review just because of the subject. So I think it would be difficult. The Pianist, Schindler's List.
Yep.
They're very, very good films, but to try and discuss them, tough. When I did the Blackfish review with John from Sense of Shelf podcast, I had to script it out because, as much as, 15 people on average was listening then, somebody who knew somebody who died could have listened. So you got to be very respectful. And I found it was a good episode. It's strangely probably the one I'm most happiest with in a strange way, because I think that documentary is unbelievable and brilliant. I've watched that dozens of times, given it's not that old. It's only a few years old.
Yeah.
I love that. But it was hard work because you're scripting it, not scripting out, you're writing out what you're going to say and researching it. So it became not as easy as I like. Yeah. But I did
work.
it. Right? Yeah. But I did try and balance it. I didn't. I don't know, like my war stuff to a point. So I don't know. I'm trying to think. I like all sorts. Absolutely. I don't really know what makes me tick. Sometimes things click with me and other times they don't. But I'd like to think I'd always give a reason as to why they do. Even if it's sometimes I'll admit, like Batman and Robin, like when I got the video, my dad got me when I was in hospital. It was nothing major. I don't know. So sometimes you kind of remember things in that nostalgia. So I get that. But then again, I watched Con Air for the first time last year.
Right.
And I love that. So I know. So I still haven't seen Gone in 60 Seconds. Haven't seen Leaving Las Vegas. I've got a lot of his to catch up on. Nicolas Cage's. I don't know, Bill. I wish I had an answer for you. Hopefully we'll find out. It's I'll tell you what it is, Bill. It's trying to find the logic in the films. That's what it is. Nah, I don't know what it is. I don't know. Good answer. Good question, though.
Yes. Yeah. You knew it would be.
I know.
Perfect. That's why. What's the other bit then?
And my second question would be, if there was a fellow movie podcaster, like a newbie who's going to start up a movie podcast, what advice would you give them? And and how to start up a movie podcast? And what's the best advice you would give them in starting a brand new movie pod and just to get them started on their journey. So yeah, thanks. Shout out to Marv for featuring me on the show and being able to allow me to jump in here and drop some questions for Shawnee boy. And shout out to Pods Like Us. Thank you so much, Marv, and thank you, Sean.
And thank you, Bill, for letting me cross off item number 13 now on my bullet list.
Yeah. Podcast. Oh God, I knew it was going to be a good question. Yeah, podcast advice. Don't be afraid to have guests on and chat to people. If that's what you want to do, obviously. If you don't, then you don't. I don't care what your politics are. I don't care who you voted for. I don't care what films you love. I don't care whether you dislike them. Let's do it. You want to review Signs, The Village, all of it. I seem to be in a bit of an M. Night Shyamalan, thing at the minute. People say The Village, Lady in the Water, and I'm like, and because I'm older, they're all right. Give them another chance.
Yeah.
They're not bad. I can't wait to see a few of his other ones. But just go for it. Be genuine. Don't try and kind of. We all do a little bit. We all try and be a bit funny, but don't overdo it. I hope I don't. But just, and also, see, I'm going to try not to sound bitter, but don't ignore people. If someone messages you and says, "Oh, I love your podcast. I'd really like to be on it." If you don't do guests, or you don't think that you listen to an episode and think, "Oh, that person's not really for me," which I don't think, I've never done myself.
Yeah.
And you don't want to, or it's not your thing, or I don't know, you've stopped your podcast, or you're not very confident, or whatever the reason may be, just politely message him back and just say, "Thank you, we thank you for listening, but no, thank you." Because there's nothing worse than when you message and you don't get anything back, because it's I don't know, it's not nice, especially when you enjoy the podcast and you're like, "I love it," like, and then you don't even get back a thank you, or it's like, just politely decline. Is all I'll say. Hasn't happened a lot. I will 99.9% of people, because Twitter's a strange place. We know this.
Yep.
It's not real life. It's odd, but in the best possible way, but the majority of people have been absolutely lovely. And also, I think I probably said this earlier. Just, you want to do it, just switch the mic on and go for it. Doesn't matter what you want to do. Don't be afraid to change it either.
Yep. Be yourself.
Yeah, there you go. There's another episode idea. Be yourself. Be yourself doesn't work. But no, I'm joking. But yeah, I don't know. It's anything else. It's probably, yeah. If you don't know how to do something, ask. Message others and ask. If you want to try an idea out, or I don't know, yeah, just message them. Or if you're not sure what they think, or you're not sure of an episode, I've done that before. I think I sent Ben an episode and said, is this all right? Or ask your mum. If you're not sure how an episode sounds, ask your mum. Because if your mum says it's all right to go out. I think, what episode did I do that with? I can't remember. Oh, yes, I know which episode it was. It was the episode. Oh, God, I can't even remember. I'm mixing up who I did it with. Oh, God, it's gone on. No, was it? Oh, anyway, I did an episode, and it's about it's called How to Behave in Britain, and it was a film made for GIs who came across in the Second World War, and it was, this is an English pub, and all this malarkey, but there's an American word for you. And then it changes partway through to be about race relations, which I'd kind of forgotten when I asked a person to come and, anyway, I don't know how anyway, I hadn't seen it for a while. And then that episode, you've got to be very wary of how you put in things and discussing things, especially between Americans and British or English or whatever, because there's words we use that are different. Homely does not mean the same here as it does in America. Apparently it means like ugly or whatever. If you say someone's homely here, that's it. Yeah, apparently I've sort of been told. Homely, if you say a girl or a lady or a lass or whatever is homely here, that means they're really nice, they keep a nice house. I don't mean, it's not an old-fashioned stereotype thing. It's just they're very nice. The house is lovely, they're really warm, welcoming. That's what homely would be to me. Apparently it means plain in America, like as in plain Jane type thing. Apparently, I've sort of been told. So you got to be careful with that one. Where was I going with that? Yeah, so that was one of the one where I said to Mum, "Can you listen to this?" and tell me, does it sound all right? Is there any? Because you're never sure how it comes across sometimes. You don't have a listen to this. What does it sound like?
Yep.
So that I think just take people's advice, and also don't so contradictory. Don't be afraid to ignore advice. Because when I got, and God bless them, they're only trying to help, and they reached out, and I thank them for reaching out because they cared enough to. But what one was like, well, why don't you cut down the tangents and try not to? No, I had a great idea from Mark at Visually Stunning Movie Podcast, who said, why don't you take out the tangents and make them mini episodes, which I did way back when, but the majority of them have stayed in now, or I cut them because whatever. I did it recently with Man and Bills. We did an episode and he tangented me. He did it into a review of Avatar: The Way of Water. So that became like a 20-minute episode, which nobody seems to care about. It's got like no listens whatsoever, which is weird. Whatever, I don't know. Don't be afraid to kind of think, oh no, I'll keep doing it this way. Because I did get advice at one point. Someone, I don't think it was like being more positive, but it was something like try and see the better side of things more. And I was like, well, it's not like I go out to see the negative side of things, but I'll just tell you what I think. That's all I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to like. That's why I think people have film podcasts, because when critics and things or whatever, when they write a review, well, what are they doing it for? Do they get sponsored? Do they get VIP access to the next films, the studio? You don't know. And I'm not saying, I'm not saying the lie or anything like that. I'm just saying there's nothing in it for the majority of podcasts. There's no, oh, well, if I say this, I might get to this film. It premiere. It doesn't work like that. Microphone fell over.
Yep. Boom shot.
Yeah. Oh yeah, booming. But yeah, and yeah, I don't know. Enjoy it. See how it goes, and so I think a lot of people, quite a few people seem to do it to help them through things, which is that's what you want to do, and that's how you want to get through things. Go for it. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's good advice or not, but just give it a go if it's something you feel like you want to do. Go for it. And just because there's 5 million other film podcasts out there, I said a million earlier, they're going up already. Just go for it. And if you don't want it, I don't know, you like Courage the Cowardly Dog, and you want to do a series on that, go for it. It's a great cartoon. Yeah.
I'm looking for a podcast all about different curries, I think.
Oh, someone's got to do it, haven't they?
Yeah. I mean, I couldn't believe it when I discovered, because of Darren from my guest list pod, that there's one all about Portaloos.
Is there?
Yep, called Get Flushed.
I bet that's great. I bet that's awesome.
It's got millions of listeners.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Well, you can't be much more niche than that, can you? Really?
No. Well, that's I've tried to niche down with the Battlefield stuff, but you can only try. But then I wouldn't want to lose the film. But to be honest, I'm doing it now because I just get to talk to different people, and I get to talk to my regulars. It's good fun. It's like running the pub.
Well, I'm hoping that the BBC will contact you soon, because they need someone other than Dan Snow to do these shows.
Yeah. The Northern Dan Snow, that made me howl. I absolutely howled when you sent me that. I actually I thought it was that funny. I told my mum, I was like, "Mum, someone said I'm the Northern Dan Snow." That absolutely killed me. Yeah. Well, I do enjoy his programs. He did a great series. Was it called Battlefield Britain? With his dad. His dad's Peter Snow.
Yes.
That was a good series. And you can get some online, free and legally on YouTube. What does he do? Oh, if you have a look on there. He does he's done some series on there, so they're well worth catching if you get a chance to. But I love Tony Robinson as well.
Yeah.
The Baldrick from Blackadder. I love his series. Blitz Street.
Time Team. Oh yeah, Blitz Street as well. Yeah.
Blitz Street. Got that on DVD. I've actually got one of his books, which I think is kind of a kid book, but it's like Kings and Queens of England, and it's hilarious because it's Tony Ross did the illustrations, it's hilarious to read because there's been that flipping many of them. It's tough to keep track.
Well, I think Tony Robbins Robinson, I think he was at university, and I think he studied archaeology. I think so. That's probably where that comes from.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Archaeology. No, I wanted to do that when I was a kid.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to be. I don't know when it changed, but yeah, archaeologist, which is the most. That's niche, if anything. Don't know when. I don't know when I changed that opinion, but yeah, always loved that. There's plenty of. That's a beauty of living in this country, the UK. There's so much history, everywhere. It's ridiculous. I can drive half an hour away and get to a castle that's like, I don't know, 500-600 years old. It's great. I enjoy it.
Well, they're repairing the one in Newark. Newark Castle. That's being repaired at the
Is it?
moment. Yeah, because it's in such a state, and I think a couple of months ago they started doing repairs to it. So I don't know how that's going to turn out. Be interesting.
Yeah, I've been to Newark quite a few times. Yeah, I'll have to see how that comes along. Yeah, it was when I went to stay up in Northumberland just for a few days last year. There's so much history up there. Like I went to the Grace Darling Museum, and I went to a few places. Where else did I go? I went to a few different things. No, I can't remember off the top of my head, but it was great. Oh, went to Berwick on Tweed.
Yep.
I should have done an episode there. I probably could with the amount of pictures I took, because that town has changed hands between England and Scotland. Is it like 17 times or something ridiculous like that? That's a fascinating place. It's like a big walled city. Is it a city? Like a big walled town like York. It's great. It's a very windy day though. I took a video on top of a hill with there's like 3 different bridges across the river, and they were all like marvels of their time type thing. Well, apart from the 60s one, I think. But and it was so windy, and then it started shutting it down. Yeah, that was good fun.
Well, we're going away from films here. So Newark, when I was talking to somebody, because we lived there before we moved to where we are now, we lived there for a few years, and I was there, I think, with my brother, and he was saying about it. He said, "Well, what is it with all of these places being, Kirkgate, Balderson Gate, Barnby Gate, and all these gates?" He says, "What is it with all that?" And I said to him, "As far as I know, I think you had the castle in the centre, and then outside of the castle, you had these like, you had the walls outside of as well." And I said, "I think these, what are called What's It Gate, Kirkgate, Barnby Gate, Balderson Gate, I think they were different entrances to the outside of the castle, to the grounds outside of the castle. I think they were the different gates or entrances, and the roads that led up to those. I think that's what they are. I think."
Yeah, as far as I understand it, it's so there's an interesting you can see. So where I live in the northeast, a lot of places by the sea are called end in by. So Whitby, Selby, there's loads more. That comes from the Vikings, because places ending in Thorpe, Scunthorpe, there's loads more. And that's to do with like land and settlements, poor lands and things. And then you get things that are, well, the Romans, so like Chester, all those kind of, there's loads more.
Sussex, Essex.
Yeah, all those
Essex,
ones.
yeah.
That's all the Romans. Then the French, there's French stuff in there. Obviously you go across to Wales, different country, but the Welsh all their different names. You go up north to Scottish as well, because it always surprises people when you say I'm closer to Scotland than I am to London, because the geography of this country. But yeah, it's a fascinating way to be. And then some places they don't have a clue why they call that, which I think is hilarious. But it's fascinating. And when you look at towns or cities, if you get maps from like 1925 and you look at places that are estates or housing estates, things like that now, or villages, newer villages, and you figure out, oh, well, this place used to be called, this was so-and-so farm. Oh, they've named it part of that farm and part of that farm. So if it was like this is made up, but if it was Newstead Farm and High Farm, they'll make new high or stead high or whatever. And that's kind of how it started to work. And that's like the last 100 years. So, yeah, there you go, Stu. There's even more in that. I like knowing that kind of thing about places. And then you particularly find out about different hills that were treated and they thought they were religious and they don't know why they look like that and why, because you find cairns that have been built across the North Yorkshire Moors and stuff. So, and they've been there for thousands of years. Thousands of years, and it's tough to get your head around. But and then obviously you get mining as well, which changes the landscape. It's an absolute hodgepodge. It really is.
This is going to be a long episode, I think.
Sorry, everybody.
So, do you try to do as little research as possible then when you're doing your show? And is there a structure to episodes?
Research, it depends what I'm reviewing. I mean, we all go on IMDb, but even more recently I've gone away from that because I've thought, well, everybody has the same stuff. So I tend to try and find. So if like some of the 90s films, they would bring out the making of, and I've got some of the books. I've got the making of Godzilla, the making of Independence Day, the making of The Mummy. Of course, I have. I've got a Batman and Robin making of up there that I've yet to read. I try and get things that give you that bit more information about. They don't really do them anymore, which is a shame. But you can get that. You can get things like that. So I try and do research in that respect, or I'll go watch I do a lot more. I watch behind the scenes stuff because I'm a big believer in DVDs and massive, them big cases of them. And I tend to watch those and think, oh, I'll watch this. And then you could bring that in. But a lot of the time, depends on what I'm doing. A lot of the time I'll just watch it and you'll think, well, I'll just make some notes about what I thought of it. Like the beverages episodes. I just make notes and I know through that it'll come because you just going to say, why did he do that? Or why did he hide behind the wall when he's because it's too easy. And in terms of structure, don't really have one. The Defend It Yourselves do a little bit because they tend to be a bit shorter, about 40 to an hour. And that only came from Zoom giving me a 40-minute limit. That's why those became shorter at first. And those tend to be, I try and ask questions like, when was the first time you saw the film? Why do you think the film gets so much stick? Why do you think it's because of this or this? So those are a little bit more structured. The Visit It Yourself ones are going to be once I get another one of those done. But outside of that, no, they just tend to be a chat, really, which is why they kind of go a bit like this episode of Apologies. It's why they kind of go all over the place. But I think, if people aren't listening, and maybe I'm wrong, but that's why I'm not doing very well. But I think that might be why people listen, because you can go on and watch a review. That's why I think a lot of YouTubers are successful, because it's just them giving their opinion on something. Like there's no pretense about it. It's like, I thought this was all right. Half the time I forget and think it's a conversation, then I listen back and think, oh God, I forgot I recorded that. So I don't really, but I do tend to go for about an hour now, unless it's flowing really well.
Yeah,
I tend to go for an hour because I was finding sometimes if they went over an hour, I mean, oh my God, the longest of mine, I think I did a watch along of Titanic, which I think was a step too far. I found when they went over an hour or maybe an hour and a half, they started to lose the way a little bit, to the point where I'm editing them going, how did I get here? Why? To the point where it sticks so far away. Probably like when you edit this, but they're so far away, you think, hang on, how would we get over there? Like, this isn't, I'm losing interest in what I'm on about. So you think, right, take that out. But apart from that, I don't have much structure, which I think can bring people in. But I know it also, I do know it. Some people don't want that. I have had things like, well, do a short of half an hour so they know what they're getting. And I'm like, I know that works. We know from a certain Texan that works and it's popular.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's just why it's popular, but that we know it works, but that's not what I want to do, because I'd find it too restricted. It takes me 20 minutes to get into a conversation, especially if it's someone new.
Yeah. And
you're trying to figure out how they talk and their accent sometimes, and they're no doubt trying to figure out mine or different words. So don't have much structure. You might have noticed, anyone listening.
It's all right. Right. Since we can talk to each other because, from the same country and we know what each other are talking about, I'm going to pause now, if that's okay,
Yeah, that's
because I need a tinkle. Hold on. Mute it so he can't hear the toilet next door.
I'm not into that, Marv. I didn't hear that, did he? Oh, it'll be a nice treat for you when you're editing anyway, Marv.
It's the return of the big headphones.
You've not seen Bill's, have you?
I have, but yeah, these aren't that big, are they? Actually, are they compared?
Oh, no.
No.
They're a bit 1980s Cyberman, but they're not bad.
Yeah, the studio ones, these are.
Oh, nice.
What do they call? They call them cans.
Oh, these are just Sony's, these.
Yeah.
They're not great, actually.
These are Technics.
Nice. Like, I'd replace these because I needed a new set. Because I had, what are they called? Skull candy ones.
Right.
And then I thought, oh, I'll get some. I don't know what my dad's watching. I thought I'll get some decent ones. And
Yeah.
I got these and they're not great, to be honest. When you pay a bit more and you think, oh, actually, I'm not.
Get Bill to send you a pair.
I have to send it over on a tanker if it's anything like it is. Oh,
Yeah. Don't you just love his Trivia Tuesdays as well, where you have to guess what the films are?
yeah, he knows what he's doing. He really does know what he's doing. I think I've got two, and the one he put on recently, I was like, I don't know what that is.
No, I don't know what the one is that he's just done. No, I knew I knew Rogue One as soon as he started talking about it.
Oh yeah,
I knew what that was. Yeah,
I think he might have mentioned to me he'd done that, so maybe I had a leg up on that one. But yeah, his most recent one, I was like, no, I don't have a clue. I was going to guess, and then I looked at the comments and thought, well, I don't know what. I'm way off piste on this one. So I thought, no, I'll leave him, let other people comment. But yeah, I'd love to know who the Ron guy is as well. I've been meaning to ask Bill because he seems to commission a lot. I'd be dying to ask Bill, like, is it someone? Obviously, doesn't have to tell me. I don't mean personally, but is it someone you know, or is it like an actual listener? Because if it's a listener, like that's impressive because he's commissioned. Like, I didn't commission Bill, but I asked him to do an episode on a film.
Yep.
We'll see if he does that yet. She says like, "Oh, you like this film, Bill?"
I'd feel bad because I'd want to suggest something to him bad, and then I'm like, oh, I don't want to do that to Bill. It's Bill.
That was the whole idea of my episodes.
Yeah.
But I'd see if I want to see if we were to ever part ways, I'd be like, come on, Bill, let's watch Kes, something like that. You know, starting up. What did you think, Bill? I don't know, man. I don't know what they were saying. kept turning to Maddie, going, what? Do you know what they're saying? Yeah, I'd love that. But they subtitle that for the Americans, believe it or Kes, which is just
Right.
Yeah, they had to subtitle it because they didn't have a clue what they were saying. Which I just think is brilliant. That's a good film, that.
I've told him he needs to get Maddie to do Maddie reads bad reviews.
Yeah, but she'd be great at it. You just know she'd be great at it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm trying to doing the best I can to keep Bill. The minute he goes on somebody else's, I think that'll be it. But no, I'm quite because he does put a lot out, especially his trivia stuff. So I am forever pleased when he comes back because they're great to do, and he's always happy to come back on. So it's nice. He's a funny guy. It's strange. It's good fun. You might have noticed. I might have mentioned a few times.
Yep. Yeah, there's a good bromance going there.
I know it's just a gush fest, isn't it, for me?
Yeah.
Bill will be like filling up the sick bags. Bless him.
Yeah. Anyway, so how do you actually record and edit the show then? You were saying that you started on Zoom when you were talking with people, and now you've gone over to Zencastr.
Yeah, I think I used Discord once, but I don't find it very easy to use. Zoom was great because if you were talking to one other person, it was unlimited time and you could do it. It was under the free thing. And then they changed it to 40 minutes. And I thought, all right, well, and that was just playing havoc because you're just getting into it. And I'm looking at the clock thinking, I'm going to have to cut these off in a minute to start anyway. So I moved to Zencastr and that's what I've used so far. I still use Zoom occasionally if somebody wants to record on that. because I know not everyone uses Zencaster, but apart from that, that's what I do, record it like that and then edit it. I've just got my new microphone, which is good and it sounds a lot more like me, but it if I knock the mic, you can hear it.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to figure it out. This is the first episode I've done where I've just put it on its stand and left it. Usually I was holding it, but I think that was probably part of the problem. So I'm trying to figure that out. And then editing it, I just, if I want to get to sleep, I put my own podcast on because it puts me to sleep. It does. Doesn't matter how good the episode is. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because it's my voice and my brain just doesn't want to listen to it. It off I go. Anyway, if I want to edit it, I'll listen to it through. I'll edit it as I'm going.
Yeah.
I just edit it through. Well, I'm on Anchor, so I edit it through that. I'll like put it together with whatever it's called, Audacity. I use the free one of that. Try and put noise gates. I'm trying to fiddle about with noise gates and stuff like that to try and clean out the sound. And I'm getting there.
Yeah.
And then I'll put it through Anchor and I'll edit it down. I'll make my notes, so which I'll say who I've been joined by, and then it'll just be discussion points, raised questions, and then I used to put quotes of the episodes, but I thought that was a little bit. I didn't want people to read that and then be like, I don't know if anyone does, to read that and then be like, oh, now I'm waiting for that. So I've stopped doing that. But it's quite a quick turnaround, to be honest. I mean, I've got 5 episodes edited and done, which is about 5 hours of stuff. And then I've got another episode that I think I've recorded. I think I've edited half of, or 20 minutes of. Then it's an hour, and I was too tired, so I've got that to do. But I haven't podcasted in a few weeks. I've not been very well. I cancelled two. I cancelled one tonight actually because I'd forgotten about this because I'd got my days mixed up. So I'd cancelled. Oh no, it was one today, one tomorrow because my voice hasn't been up to it. It's the first day where it's still not really.
Yeah.
And I've just been knackered. But yeah, in terms of that's about it. It's quite simple. I don't worry. I don't worry too much if there's a little bit of like mic noise in it or whatever. It's like, oh well, never mind. I think my episodes sound all right. As long as I don't have like a shh in the background, which I've heard on some podcasts, and you think that turns people off because it turns me off straight away when you hear that. I think I can't listen to it because I can just hear that in the background. Yeah, that's about it. If I have to split it up into a mini episode like the Avatar, or if I want to take out certain things, I will. But it tends to be, yeah, I know what I'm doing. But then I don't know. I don't have like a set release structure either. I've got like a Mondays that'll go out, and I was going to go back to 2 days, but then all of a sudden the players seem to have picked up. So I'm like, right, well, maybe just leave it. So I've got at least a month and a bit to do to like release. So yeah, it seems to be doing all right. I don't tend to do an awful lot after that. Once they're done, that's about it.
I don't think anyone is as ahead as Stu is with Stu World Order, because that one, when you record with him, you forget when he puts the episode out, you've forgotten completely that you've even been on the show.
Oh yeah, me when we did Batman and Robin, me, Bill, and Stu's a pro. It's ridiculous. And when we did that, when did we record it? I don't know. What, beginning of the year, maybe? And it was like, oh, all right, guys, this will be out in July. We were like, what? Well, like 6 months. Well, what do you can't possibly have that many. And he does.
Yes.
He does. Yeah. But for me, I kind of want to get them done and edited and get them out. But it can work against you because if you put too many out, people are kind of not having chance, especially mine, because they're not exactly short.
Yep.
They're having to, oh, well, I haven't listened to that one and this one. But I've really tried to learn to just leave them where they are and release them as they come out and try and give them each the, what's the right word? Not the awareness. Give them the
breathing room or something.
Give them the attention. That's it. Give them the attention they all deserve. Because, I have people who return, but I also have people who come and do them new. I launched it this year and thought, right, do you defend it yourselves and get some new, not on purpose, get some newer people in. And I think Paisley from learned German through music, who jokingly says she's on the payroll now, because she's done quite a few with me over the past month. Like she said to somebody, "Oh, podcast with Sean," so someone's just messaged me, and you as well, actually, saying, "Oh, I've heard about your podcast," which has never happened before. Would you like? So that I think I'm sorting out a review with them. So yeah, it's nice. It's nice that I'm amazed when people actually want to come and talk about something, because I would think a lot of people, maybe this is an unconfident thing to say, but I always thought a lot of people would listen to mine and be like, "Oh no," because I think podcasts, there's a lot of American podcasters and Canadian, they're very positive, which I admire about that part of the world where, you know, they are quite positive, and not all of them, but you don't generalize. But they've just got a way. It's their way. Like their thing is, you can start as like a waiter, and you could become like the franchisee owner. Because I watch like Undercover Boss and stuff. Love those shows.
Yeah.
So, does that tell a bit too much? But anyway, I love those, the American ones, and they have that real like American dream type thing, and I love that. I like that kind of. I think it's brilliant to have. I don't think we. I mean, maybe it's because I'm from the north. I don't know. I don't think we quite have that here. It's just like, well, what do you want to do? Oh, I want to be a director. Well, you're sure? Like, why not? Are you sure you can do that? Which was the conversation I had, which was at one point. But I'm glad I got talked out of it. But yeah, it's things like that. Like, oh, what do you want to take a GCSE? I want to take history. I want to take history, geography, drama, and art. Well, you can't take drama and art. Like, you can take a nice subject, but you need to take something else. So I then dropped art for French, which is then the only GCSE I failed. Although I can speak a little bit. When I went to France last year, I could say enough to say good morning, good night, how are you? I could say enough to be polite. So yeah, that's just what I mean. I think it's a different way, a different kind of outlook on life. And I'm not saying either one's right or either one's wrong, but it's just because I'm very diplomatic sometimes. But it's just a very different way of looking at it. I do appreciate that, but I would think it would affect. I can sometimes think someone would listen and be like, "Oh, you're always negative," but you know, be honest. I would never. It's like people say, "Oh, you'd be a good salesman." I'm like, I would, but if I didn't believe in what I was selling, I wouldn't. I'd be honest and say, "You don't want this one, love. You don't want this Hoover. Go buy the. Go. I tell you what you want. Get one of them."
Yep.
"Oh, do you sell them?" "No, I don't. But I only sell this. It's not great. Get that one." That's why I've never been a salesman ever.
Yeah. Yep.
Salesperson, sorry.
Yep. You know this hi-fi that's here for £1,500. You'd actually be a lot better going over the road there and buying that model for 700.
Yeah, that's what I got.
Yeah,
I got that one. Oh, did you? Oh, yeah, I got that one. Yeah. I heard about this one. My mate said it wasn't very good. Put a lot of stock in your friends, your family. If they tell you, go off their opinion. Don't. That's why I like a podcast, because someone will tell you, "Oh, no, it's not great." That sometimes they're wrong. A lot of the times they're not.
But yeah, I mean, I'm having issues with this microphone that I'm using, because I listen back to myself and I think I'm very bassy on sound. So I think, because I famously use my old 4-track tape recorder as part of the equipment for doing this, going really old school. I think I need a mixer or something in between, because that hasn't got bass or treble. So I need something to turn the bass down and possibly add a bit of treble to give me a bit more life, I think.
If it was me, I'd ask Ben. Ask Ben from Film Floggers. He's traveling the world at the minute, so it might be difficult. He might not get back to you quickly, but he's my go-to techie guy. He repaired an episode, my Titanic watch-along episode for me, like 3 hours of it. Yep. Because you could hear, I was listening in earphones and you could hear the film. Oh, it was awful. And he somehow managed to, apart from a little bit where I had to put a little bit of the original audio back in, apart from that, he salvaged that one for me. But as I said, it was a step too far. I don't think anyone wants to watch me, listen to me narrating Titanic, but I enjoyed it. That was good fun.
I could experiment with Audacity and see if I can just cut bass on there.
Yeah, I guess I'm so slowly trying to learn all this. Didn't even know what a noise gate was till about a month ago.
Right.
Ben said, "Oh, I've put a noise gate on it." I said, "You put a what on it?" And then I found out what that was, and then you told me about that episode. Because this is the thing, when I listen to an episode on Anchor,
Yep.
and I do all the mixing, it sounds fine in my headphones. When it goes onto Spotify sometimes, and I play it through my phone, I'm like, God, I can barely hear me.
Hmm.
And then what's going on? And that was part of the reason why I got this. And I've also got a microphone holder on the way, so that every time I record, I'm recording in the same place, because I was always moving about, and I could hear it, and it annoyed me. But I don't think it's ever been as bad that it would be unlistenable. Is that a word? Whatever. But it does kind of get on your nerves, especially when you have to listen back to it. I've ever abandoned an episode. Only one, when my guest's audio, she sounded like a Cyberman, and I was like, it's gone, I can't do anything. And I couldn't. It was single track. No, it wasn't. Tell a lie. It was it was two different tracks. Tell a lie. And I jokingly said at one point, should I just loop in an impression of you? And but I thought how much work that would take, and I thought no, to try and match it all up. But yeah, so I have lost a full episode. Can't even remember what we reviewed now, because it was just unlistenable. And I also went on somebody else's, and it sounded fine and it recorded fine. And then I listened to the episode, and my audio was horrendous. And I was like, what's happened to that? I don't know whether it was, I don't know what it was. Was it my equipment? Was it what they were recording on? I don't know. But I kept cutting out all the time. And I just thought, my God, and I messaged him saying, I don't know what happened there. So it's all part of the fun. If you don't have at least one episode just scrapped, then are you podcasting enough? Probably not.
I've had that when I've listened to myself as a guest on shows, and I've listened to that show that I've been on, and I thought, oh my God, I sound awful on there, and it cuts out and everything, but you don't know this stuff's happening when you're actually the guest, and yeah, because it happened with Trimming the Musical Fat. I was on there for, I can't remember whether it was the one where we were talking about a Paul McCartney song, or it might have been the one where we did we looked at the Diamonds and Pearls album by Prince, and I think that I keep cutting, it keeps going robotic sounding.
It's awful, isn't it? Because you've got a good conversation there, or a great episode, and you think, what a shame, it's ruined. The one of mine, I had, but didn't realize I had it at the time. It was the first time I recorded with Ben for Film Floggers, so I was dead excited. Felt a bit under the weather, but I was dead excited because I'd listened to first podcast I listened to, loved him and Fiona, him and Ben, Dan wasn't around at the time, but I love their dynamic. He mourns. It's just it's what I find really, really funny. I was dead excited to do it, and I recorded it. We did The Rock, great film, and I listened back. I haven't listened to it, Marv, because you wouldn't think it was me. My voice is like that, and I realized listening, but I thought, what's wrong? Is it my mic? Oh, my voice had gone. And because I'd never spoken to him before, afterwards, when I messaged him, whenever I'd edited it or whatever, I said, my voice is like just gone. And he said, no, I thought you were just like really, really northern, like really gruff. And I was like, no, that's not my voice. I can't do anything about that one. I saw The Rock, the first episode I ever did it, not with Ben, is it's a shame. I can't listen to it because my voice is just, because of what I had, my voice had gone. So, but I mean, that happened a week ago. So when I was recording Hondo and I kept coughing, and I was like, oh, sorry about this. And I had it again. So third time was not a charm. Tell you that. So, but what can you do? So yeah, that was a bad one. It was a shame. I was so excited for that one. And then it was just, I can't listen to it. I honestly can't listen to it because it's not like a technical issue. It's just the way my voice was. You can't change your voice, fortunately.
No.
Do an impression of a Texan.
You can try. You do a better job than I do.
Don't know, like, it was pretty rough around the edges, that one.
Get Hugh Laurie to do one. He does a good American accent.
Doesn't he just? And is it Daniel Kaluuya? Because he's British as well, isn't he? Isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and what's the other lad called? He was in Star Wars. Oh, I don't know my Star Wars. I can't remember what his character's called. In the newer ones, Finn. Is it Finn? John
Oh,
Beluga, not
John.
Beluga.
No,
John, that one. He does a good
John
American accent as
Boyega.
well. Boyega. Is he? He's English as well, isn't he? Or British or whatever, isn't he? Is he
Yeah,
American?
he is. He's British. Yeah.
Oh, we Jason Isaacs. He's done series over there.
Yeah.
Oh, there was one point where they were complaining. I mean, I kind of get it, because when Americans try and do English, it's like one of a brilliant film, V for Vendetta, brilliant film. Natalie Portman, when I watched that, didn't realize she wasn't English, except there's a scene in it, and I thought in my old series we reviewed V for Vendetta because I'd never seen it, and it's when she says butter, she says butter, right, or butter, is the Southerners say. Oh my God, you can hear it. You can hear that she's not from here. And it's just that one word. It's just that one word. And I know how ridiculous it sounds, but change it. Just don't say butter, just butter. And it's like, oh my God. It's after he's shaved her head and had her captive. It's when he brings her out, V brings her out and gives her breakfast and explains it's in that scene. And it's like, oh God. Because at that point I was like, hang on, is she really English?
Yeah.
And my mate was like, no, she's Natalie Portman. I was like, oh God, yeah, of course it is. And the rest of the film, her accent is spot on, but just that one little bit. I will say, actually, I tell a lie. Renée Zellweger, when she played Bridget Jones, her accent's brilliant in that. Really, really good. To be fair to her.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say something about Natalie Portman. Can't remember what it was now. So music, logo, yep. You of course, being Northern and being English, you've got to have Mr. Blobby on the artwork.
Yeah, that came from an episode that I did with the Wait What podcast trio.
Yeah.
And the tangent went off on about Mr. Blobby and butter and all sorts of stuff, funny enough. And I remember when I came to do the logo, I thought, oh, what can I put in it? Because we talked during the episode. I don't know how old I was, but I think my dad dressed up as Mr. Blobby for, was it? I don't know whose birthday it was. I can't remember. And I screamed, and I don't know, you remember something in your head. Anyway.
Yeah. And
that was just kind of the joke about, oh, well, was it really your dad? I was like, I think it was. Never took his anyway. So, and that was, and when I came to do when I came to get the new logo done, because like the original logo with the car was meant with the camera on top.
Yeah.
It was never what I originally envisaged. It was meant to be for Reluctant Reviews. It was meant to be me in the front because my friend doesn't drive, which was a running joke. I was in the front with like a frowned drama, like the drama things you get on road signs. It was my face with it like annoyed, him like on top of the roof, stick figures like with the smiley face holding this camera, and it was a brilliant logo, and it was Reluctant Reviews, and it was all about that. And then it had to be like very quickly changed, so it was never what I wanted, but I liked it because it was different and it was purple and it stood out a bit. But then it got to a point where I thought I need something because it doesn't match what it is.
Yep.
And when I thought, well, I've got to have Titanic on it, obviously. I've got to have the England flag on it. I've got to have the mummy on it. I wanted the face. Paul from SP Film Viewers did the logo.
Yep.
And I thought, can I get Mr. Blobby on it? Thankfully, he's English. So he was like, yeah. So that's where that came. I just thought I wanted something a bit quirky in there. And he's just done my logo for Visit It Yourself. So I'm really happy with that. So yeah, onwards and upwards. You keep changing, but so I'm happy with the new logo. It's a bit different. I didn't want like a podcast. I didn't want like a microphone on it or anything like that. I just wanted it just to look a bit like, oh, what's this? That was what I was going for. Something that I liked.
It's like your very own Sergeant Pepper's album cover.
Yes, it is. I can't remember what my ideas were for it at the time, to be honest, in terms of what I wanted it to be. But I think it just came from like, oh, I want Titanic on it. I want this on it. I want that on it. I want the England flag on it. I think originally I wanted, of course, the point in view.
Yeah.
I wanted it to be, I was something like not a Union Jack. It might have been a Union Jack, but then, and I have said this off mic just to some of my friends who podcast from Scotland. I thought, well, why would I use the Union Jack like this or the Union flag when it's not at sea? There's a bit of trivia. The people were using, the Scottish flag, and I thought, well, hang on, if they're going to use that, I want to use the English. I want to use the English flag. Then fine, I'll use St George's flag.
Yep.
So I wanted that in it. So it was going to be like the hand coming through that, and then I thought, well, I want the mummy in it. I want different bits in it. So that's what it became. And then when I came to do the other logo, I thought, well, there's only one person I'm going to go to. So yeah, but again, it came from Ben at Film Vloggers. When he did his website, which he guy went through some stuff to get that website made. Bless him. He got Paul. Now I did an episode. I don't know when this is going to come out either. We did this months ago. I did an episode with him and Paul. I tell you, sorry, Paul came on my show and did Dog Soldiers from SP, and he said, "Oh, Paul does them." And I looked on the website and thought, hey, that's about the style I want to go for. So that's where it came from.
So here we go then. Confessional films that all people have watched, or a lot of people have watched that you haven't.
Gremlins, haven't seen it, any of them.
Surprise.
I've only just recently watched the first Lethal Weapon. Haven't seen the rest of those. I've literally in the past year, I saw Rogue One years ago. I don't know why, just that one. I've only just recently watched A New Hope and The Empire Strikes Back. I haven't seen, what's the third one called?
Return of the Jedi.
Haven't seen that one.
Nope.
Haven't seen any of the prequels. Haven't seen any of the newer ones. What else? Oh, there's loads of stuff I haven't seen. Like it's I haven't seen any of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle films that like I've got those to watch.
I have.
There's a lot I haven't seen. To the point where it's like, have you not seen that? You love films? Like I just haven't got around to watching them because I don't fancy them or whatever.
Yep.
What else? Oh, there'll be loads. For someone who loves films, I've got a lot of gaps.
Yeah.
Which I'm doing my best, but I mean,
You've only got so many hours.
Yeah. Haven't you just? Did I say Friday the 13th? Haven't seen any of those.
No. Godfather.
Haven't seen any of those. No. Haven't seen any. What's the other one? Nightmare on Elm Street. Haven't seen any of those.
Right.
Only just recently saw the Halloweens. Seen the Exorcist classic.
Yep.
Seen The Shining. Haven't seen A Clockwork Orange, which is always a big one that keeps cropping up. There's a few like what people call classic films, but then I watch a classic film like 2001: A Space Odyssey, and it makes me want to gouge my eyes out because it was just so bad. The house stuff's great, and it just becomes bizarre, like a baby in space. Anyway, what else? I saw that when I was 16. I still haven't forgotten how bad it was. What else? Oh, there's loads of stuff I've not seen. Like The Breakfast Club, I haven't seen that. Haven't seen. Is it Porky's? Haven't seen a lot of those kind of. Only just recently saw Ferris Bueller.
Yep.
There's a lot of those kind of 80s films because it's just before I just didn't kind of see them. I'm trying to think. There's a lot I've caught through the.
I've never seen Ferris Bueller.
It's all right, it's good. It's good. A lot deeper than you'd expect the parts. It's all right. I think it was probably of its time. I think. What else? But yeah, the Star Wars one's always the biggest one because it's what everyone goes to, and I'm like, never interests my dad, so I never watched it. So was never on. So it never became a thing I watched. Try to think. Oh, I'll think of loads. I wrote down a few, but yeah, trying to think. There's lots I've not seen.
You'll get contact information later, people, so send him a message suggesting these things to him.
Yeah, absolutely. Go for it. Yeah, there's loads.
So how many of these should we go for? Should we go for 3 or 5? Let's go for 3 of your picks then for films that people should check out.
Oh, trust me to do 7. Right, let's have a think.
All right, you
Well,
can do 7 if you like.
I already mentioned Way Out West, 1937, Laurel and Hardy, one of the best films ever made. End of story. One of my all-time favorite films, Touching the Void, 2003, about a mountaineering accident and like a story of survival. Brilliant film. Absolutely fantastic. Blackfish, of course. The Da Vinci Code, 2006.
Right.
Great film. Found out in the last year there's a Blu-ray extended cut which I bought. Great. Same with Angels and Demons as well. Of course, The Mummy, 1999, and The Mummy Returns,
Yes.
2001.
Yep. Not the third one.
Well, no, it's not great. I
No.
love the poster. I've got the poster somewhere. I liked it, but it was never as. I watched it recently and I thought it was dumb fun. As soon as they recast Rachel Weisz, to be fair, there's an episode that I did with Sarah from Weird Horizon where the whole episode was our ideas for the Mummy 4, like a proper, like how would they do it? And we also talked about how we would fix the Mummy. I think I came up with a good idea to fix the third Mummy film.
Yep.
Titanic, 1997, of course. It's always going to be in there.
Yeah.
And also another film. I was thinking about films that I always say, "Oh, have you seen this?" And people go, "Oh no, what's it about?" So the title of the film is a bit misleading, but stick with me. It's called The Assassination of Richard Nixon.
Right.
It's a 2004 film. It stars Sean Penn. It's based on a real life story of a guy who wants to assassinate Richard Nixon, but that his attempt is not right until the end, and it is. You'd be amazed how much of a true story it is. But the majority of the film follows this guy in, I think it's 1974, follows him for a few years. He's down on his luck. It's a little bit like, is it Falling Down? Is that the one, Michael Douglas, where he,
Yep.
a little bit like the beginning of that, like where you can see he's just fed up with life, and he gets browbeaten all the time. So the assassination, Samuel, he's called, played by Sean Penn. You can just see, like, I remember the first time I watched it, and then the second time, but lesser so. The first time I watched it, you could feel yourself getting angrier and angrier watching it. Like he's trying to be like a good guy. He's trying to get a job and see his kids and try and reconnect with his wife. And I'm not saying he's a perfect guy. There's a lot of grey in there to one of those films. He's, is he all good as he are? But I don't know. Certainly starts to lose it at the end, but he's trying to, he's got a business idea and he tries, and I don't want to start spoiling bits of it for you, but his boss treats him a certain way, and it's one of those films that you watch and you can feel. I did review it way back when. I should probably redo it because probably didn't do a great job of it. But you just get more and more like annoyed watching it with him, thinking, "God, someone just give this guy a break," to the point where he snaps. Not that it condones trying to kill anyone, of course, but it's a fascinating film, and I loved it. But it's also one of those where you say, "But have you seen it?" And they go, "Oh no." That's another one. Was it Bill? Speaking of sad series, Stu, I think it was Bill who said to me, "You need to do a highlight it yourself," which is where I would go. This episode is going to be about this film that I think not a lot of people have seen, and it needs a bit of recognition.
Yep.
Anyway, so that would be my last pick. I've got more, but that one, if you haven't seen one, go see that one. I thought it was great.
Well, you've just mentioned re-review it yourself.
Oh yeah. I've done that a few times.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, definitely, because I think, I did that way back when. I'll do it with somebody else. Why not? It's my podcast. I think I've talked about the Mummy on about 4 podcasts, so why not? And then I've been on other people's as guests and done films I've already done. But if you like certain films, then why not?
Yeah, why not? I remember I went on to Stu's and I did one of the Turtle films on Stu's show.
I'll have to do them.
And he said, what's your first positive? And I said, they made a Turtles film.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's like, oh, right. He says, yeah, they made a film. So that was the fun. So go on then. Here we go with all the bigging up. What podcast do you listen to?
Oh, God. Do you want me to be honest?
Not very many. But the ones that you do listen to occasionally. Yeah. The ones that you like to listen to.
To be fair, I listen if I want. The Decision Reel's pretty good. I've been on with those guys a few times.
Yep.
They're always good fun to listen to. The Wait What podcast trio, the guys from down south, they're hilarious because you just never know where it's going to go. and they just have no limits in the best possible way. Like, nothing horrendous, but you just don't know where it's going to go. And you just they are hilarious, and they do a really eclectic mix. They did stuff about the World Cup, and then they'll do other things about like top films or this that. They do all sorts. It's great. Film vloggers I listen to religiously when Ben bothers to put a review out. He'll take that in the spirit it's meant. He's traveling around at the minute. Listen to Bill's, of course. I'm always looking at, as I said, off mic. Oh, I'm not being whatever. I'm always reading your blog because it's nice to get feedback, and I like to. I've actually connected with a few podcasts because I've seen you reviewed them, and then when I've read what you've transcribed, oh, that sounds interesting, and I've gone and listened. But I don't listen to an awful lot. That I listen to the Nerdstalgic podcast. Luke, he is one of those people. He has no idea how naturally funny he is. Like he's just brilliant. He did to the point where he did the Narnia film series, and I listened to that in the van at work. I was on my own that day, and I was it killed me, absolutely killed me, and I thought this is absolutely hilarious. But yeah, I don't think he knows, and it won't take him long. He'll start flying. Honestly, he really will. I like listening to who else? I like listening to the odd Titanic stuff. There's a few collaborators that I talk to, but I don't listen to an awful lot now. I know it sounds a bit odd, but because I'm always trying to sort out my own stuff, I tend to listen to episodes from people before I have them on. So I had the Almost Presidents podcast on, Ryan and Kevin, the brothers. I meant to say to them at the time, I couldn't do a podcast with my brother, either of them, and I don't know how to do it. And I listened to one of their episodes about RFK before, and I thought, this is going to be good because I know bits, but not loads about American politics, and that was really interesting. Let's have a think. I don't tend to listen to a lot, to be honest. I listen to the odd Weird Horizon episode. I listened to Sarah's Men in Black series, which wasn't about the film. She reviewed the film on my podcast, part of it, but another shameless plug. But she did about the original the stories that film got its inspiration from. I think it was a comic series where people said they got these anonymous government agents who would turn up and be like, it might be worth it if you don't continue this line of inquiry. And it's not a threat. It would be best if you stop pursuing this line of inquiry. And that's kind of where they never identified it. So that's where it kind of came from. So yeah, I'm trying to think. I do catch there's a brilliant episode of the Walk the Line podcast that Ryan Walker did, where he got a guy on who was meant to come on and talk about his band, I think, and then the guy just launched into all these conspiracy theories, and it is one of you couldn't make it up. Like if you'd have asked somebody to come on and pretend to do that, it's hilarious, but fascinating to listen to. Like, I'll have to try and find out which one it was, but that was hilarious to listen to, because it's just like, oh my god, this is what you actually think about. This is what you think. It fascinates me. I'd never say it to someone, like, you're wrong, but I just think it's fascinating. Is that actually what you think? Brilliant. That was a great one. But I try and listen as much. I tend to do it when I'm like driving like home from work. I don't do it into work, but back from work I'll do. Or if I'm coming back on the plane, I'll listen to, which isn't very often, barely. But I did that. So I'll try and listen to a few. I'll do my best. Yeah. But then sometimes it comes from, it's like I don't know how Clayton and Sean's podcast, Men Who Like Movies, appeared. I don't know where that appeared. And I was like, okay, that's exactly what it says in the tin. Let's have a listen to that. And then in the first episode, they mentioned Weebo from Flubber, and I started crying, laughing in my car. And I thought, any podcast that can mention Weebo from Flubber, I thought, yeah, okay, I'll have a listen to these guys. And then I think I reviewed, what was it, Anna in the Apocalypse? That's a Christmas film. On their podcast. Clayton's been on. I'm going to do the Alien series with Sean because he loves those. Don't think Clayton's a fan of him. So I honestly, I'm not Like I will literally, it doesn't matter if I find something interesting, I'll be like, right, I'm gonna talk to these guys. Like that's why I said before, I don't care like what people's politics are. That's the whole like thing behind the no politics. Like, if that's what someone wants to talk about, like, knock yourself out. But I can't be fussed with it. We talk about it enough in life.
Yep.
And then when it's in other countries' politics, well, it doesn't really. I wouldn't start talking about what's going on over here because I don't think it's not relevant.
No.
So, but I'm not bothered in that. My thing is right because I know I've talked to people who are totally under the spectrum to me in every which direction in terms of the politics. So I'm not bothered. As long as not advocating hurting one, who cares? Who care?
Yep.
I don't care.
That's
You
right.
voted for them. You did. I don't care what you voted. I'm not bothered. This doesn't interest me in the slightest. Like, but I tell you what, let's review. I don't know, Flubber, or but you know, see, this is the thing. I've got so much more to do. Haven't done the Back to the Futures. Haven't
Wow.
done the Home Alone. See, the Home Alone's are special. The Home Alone 1 and 2 in my family are special, so they'll be saved. Probably my swan song. But yeah, there's loads to do. Loads.
So there we go, podcast listening. So where can people find you and get hold of you if they want to?
So yeah, so I'm Sean from Review It Yourself. Review It Yourself. You can find me, the eponymous sigh, which again came about by accident. It's not in my original episodes. I don't know where it came from. It was meant to be the opposite of what a lot of film podcasts are, which is very enthusiastic. I thought, why don't I kind of why don't I do the opposite to that and just be like, as in, like, here we go again.
Yep.
Oh, here we go again. So you can find Review It Yourself on pretty much all your podcast platforms, I think. If you're finding it that I'm not on, let me know. You know, Apple, Spotify, Good Pods, Podchaser. Twitter, it's at Yourself Review because I couldn't get Review Yourself. I don't know why.
Yep.
Instagram, it's Review It Yourself Podcast 2021. The Patreon is Review It Yourself. If you want to support the show, get extra content if that's your thing. The only place you can get the the Visit It Yourself episode is through Spotify because I'm an anchor, so the video only goes on Spotify. But you can get the audio everywhere else because it's made so that you can listen to it. You don't have to be able to see, which is another reason why it takes me quite a while to write them because you think, well, I can't see. Oh, if you look over there.
Yeah.
Yes, I think that's about it, really. If you haven't been sold on listening to me for this long, and I really hope I haven't come across like big-headed or arrogant or like a big know-it-all because I'm not. And hopefully not massively narcissistic either.
Absolutely not. Right, you can find pods like us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter. Also, I'm on Patreon as well if you want any of that extra stuff. And I'm playing it down because I'm a Brit. Play it down.
Exactly what I know.
Yeah. All these Americans are all excitement and like, you're going to follow me on this place, that place, the other. You can contact me here, and I'm on here. There you go.
I've tried to do that, and it just comes across like I'm taking the mick.
Yep.
Because that's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Like I'd love. Don't get me wrong. I have. That's another idea. I have toyed with doing an episode where I do it like that. So I was like, welcome to Review It Yourself. Today we're going to do A Good Day to Die Hard. It's Bruce Willis's John McClane swan song. And just do the whole thing like that.
Yeah.
A bit like Quagmire from Family Guy or something. And I've, but then you think, I don't know. But I've tried, but it just sounds like you're taking the mick. But I'd love, it's like when I did the Bill episode and Bill was like, I might do the same back. I was like, I would love to see you try and do an impression of me, Bill. I would, if you put that behind like a £20 paywall, I would pay to listen to that because it would be gold.
Yep.
It would be absolute gold. Don't know how he'd do it, but
no, I think there'd be a lot of people that would do that actually. You know, Ben from Film Floggers, I'm sure he'd listen to that, and you know, Stu Wood for Definite, and all these other people.
He did an alright impression of me, Ben, on one of his. He did Review It Yourself, and considering he's from down south, he did an alright go at it. Yeah,
All right, for a southern softie. Yeah.
He did all right. His girlfriend's Irish, so her attempt wasn't as great. Then again, I tried to do an impression of her voice on his, so it wasn't. It was a bit quiet, thankfully.
I try not to do Irish accents. I turn into somebody. I try to do accents, and then I turn into a different accent, and no, it starts to go the racial route. I think if I keep doing that.
Yeah, well, it's a problem with when you're from like different parts of the country. If you've got a very strong accent, I struggle to get on my own first, and then if you try and do an impression of, like, if I tried to do somebody like who's New Zealand, it would come across like I was trying to do South African. Because I can't get, because I've tried, like, as a joke. If you watch like a film in New Zealand and you try and do the voice, and you think, oh God, that does not sound like what I wanted it to. But
I tried to do Welsh ones and it came through sounding Indian, and I thought, right, I'll edit that out.
I went on a trip a few years ago, and the tour guide, like, it was a history tour thing, and the guy was Welsh, and I listened to him talk for 4 days. And by the end of that, I could do a pretty cracking impression, but I can't do it off the cuff. I've just got to kind of do it. But yeah, that one wasn't. I could do it, but yeah, you want see, this is another thing when people say, "Oh, Britain," and you do realize it's different countries, right? Like, I'm not Welsh. Like, you don't call anybody from like Scotland or Wales or Ireland. Well, that's a different story, kind of. You don't call them British because they're like, no, we're not.
No. But you go into that thing there, even in the same country, where Americans are surprised that I've only been to London a couple of times, and they're like, well, it's such a small country. Why aren't you always there?
Because I won't say what I was going to say, but because it might be lovely for tourists, but for the majority of us, it's a different place. It's much more expensive than the rest of the country. Oh, don't get into it, Sean. It's just different. It's just when you live where I live, it's kind of like not in a, what's the right word? I'm not in a condescending way, but it's kind of like what the Americans call like the Midwest or the Rust Belt and stuff.
Yep.
Where there was massive industry, and now there isn't a lot of it. There's barely any left, and you've got places that have to rapidly change how they are and what they do, and unemployment's high and stuff. And it's far away from London.
Yeah, it is.
That's all I'll say. Best not say anymore.
Anyway, thanks for speaking with me today, mate.
Oh, it's fine. Sorry, I've absolutely talked your head off, haven't I?
It's all right. I'll go and have some food now after we've been talking for 3 hours.
Yeah, that's on the recorded side of it as well. Yeah, no. Thanks a lot, Marv. I've been dying to come on we're dying to have you on. To be fair, I find stuff like this a little bit.
We'll sort that out.
Oh yeah, you'll have to come and do Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I've got them ready to watch. I'm joking.
I've already done one of them.
We could do number 2. There's 3 of them.
I've done the third one.
Return of the Ooze, is that one? Or whatever it's called.
That's the one where they go back in time.
I didn't know that. Oh,
Turtles in Time. They go back to samurai times in Japan.
Oh God, that just sounds wrong for a plethora of reasons. Oh, and man,
there's this bit. So you've got they got the chap who plays Casey in the films, the character.
Mm-hmm.
So he plays Casey in the modern day, and then when they go back in time, he plays another character, but there's nothing about that character. They don't even mention. There's no relation to the modern day Casey or anything. They've just used him because he's there, and they couldn't get another actor to play that part.
My God,
there's no other reason for him to be there. And I kept saying to Stu, what was the point of him being that character in the modern time and that character in the past when there's no link to them?
Oh, I might have to get Ben from Film Flabbers to do these with me, because him moaning about those would be glorious. Although this is another thing. Last point, when I started defending yourself, I forgot that when people pick these awful films that everyone says is awful, oh come on, you've got to watch it.
Yeah.
Because I could do those episodes and not watch it and just read a synopsis and just do questions, but then you go, oh God, I've got to watch this. At The Fifth Element, 5 minutes. Now I'm not watching this again. I did it once. I don't get it. I don't see it. Sin Cities, I haven't seen those either. Everyone mentioned. I'm like, I've never seen either of them. Never fancied them.
But the stupid thing is, so you pick three films, don't you, with Stu, and then or you choose three numbers. Then he tells you what they are. You pick which film you're going to watch, and apparently all three that I picked were dreadful films, allegedly. Because another one was that one with Vin Diesel where he was blood something or other. I can't remember.
Not Triple X. No, not Triple X.
No, blood something or other. I can't remember what it is, and it's a superhero film ish, and so I picked the Turtles
I know which one you mean.
out of them.
I can't remember what it's called. Doesn't he play not a vampire? I know which one you mean.
Where he can regenerate or something when he gets shot.
Chronicles of Riddick.
No, it's not that. No.
Oh, isn't it?
It is blood something. I love Pitch Black. I think that's a cracking film. With Vin Diesel. That's a great film.
Not seen it.
The other Riddick films are dreadful. That first one is brilliant. Pitch Black.
See, I have to give that a go. I love Triple X or XXX or whatever you want to call it. I thought the first one of those was great, but then the second one was terrible. And I thought I never saw the third one.
But the Turtles film, I picked it and then it's not available on any streaming service at all. So I had to buy the bloody thing on DVD to watch it. But for some reason, I own all three of the films that I chose now on DVD.
Oh no!
So I may have to say to Stu, do you want me to come on and do the Vin Diesel film with you?
I had to do that with Night at the Roxbury. Yeah. Oh, the worst film I've ever seen in my life. It was awful. If I'd have seen that and I had never seen Will Ferrell, I'd have been like, I'll never watch any of his again. I'm not a big Will Ferrell. I haven't seen Step Brothers. I haven't seen Anchorman. I haven't seen Anchorman 2. I haven't seen those. I watched.
Elf.
See, me and Bill, right? We agree on this. We don't see the point. We don't see the hype around Elf. I don't get it.
No.
I just think, but I'm like, well, all right, it's okay, but it's not Home Alone, Lost in New York, is it? So just get a bit of a grip. And I don't get it. I think it's one of those films that people like. Oh, me and Bill might have to do Elf, but he kill me. But it's like you think why? I don't understand. Like I want to understand what everyone else sees. Yeah. Like Skyfall. I don't understand don't understand what everybody sees about Skyfall. I think it's awful. I hate it's like Home Alone with James Bond. I don't understand what the crack is. And everyone's, oh, it's great. I'm like, I don't see it. I wish I could see it. I can't see it. And I hate that film.
I like Casino Royale.
Oh, love it.
With Daniel Craig.
Yeah.
But, I'm going to make enemies here. You ready? I think Daniel Craig is great. But other than Casino Royale, I have a problem with all of the films that he made after.
Yeah. Well, Quantum of Solace, which I think is the best one apart from that one. Yep. I think this sounds weird, but it might. If you watch Quantum of Solace and think of it as a DVD extra follow-on, what happened next from Casino Royale, it stands up a lot better. And when you do a lot about the production of Quantum of Solace, I must review that film.
Yep.
It was written during the writers' strike, and it was a mess. And they knew it was a mess, and they did the best they could. And I think it has some good action sequences in it. And I don't think it's that bad. But considering what it came after, it struggled. Yeah. Then Skyfall, I don't like. I just don't enjoy it. I tried. I've watched it recently. Still don't get it. Spectre, apart from the beginning bit where he walks through and the helicopter bit, after that it's awful. Like all a bit with. And I like Dave Bautista. He did a great film called Final Score, which I'm going to review soon, set in Wembley. It's great. He's like John McClane in Wembley. That's what it's about. Stadium. It's great. But ridiculous. He kills somebody by putting their head in a chip fat fryer. It's brilliant. Yep. Anyway, yep. It's just stupid what that character he plays. Oh, me and Bill did it. Me and Bill did it. I forgot we've done that many. And it was just dreadful. And then No Time to Die was just like Bond deconstructed. It wasn't Bond. He just wasn't, but he didn't do anything that Bond ever does.
We hated that film.
Bond, when he came back for the money, he said, I'd rather slit my wrists. Something like that. I'm not saying that flippantly. He said something like that. I'm sure he said, I'd rather slit my wrists or something along those lines than come back. And I'd only come back for the money. Because the fourth one, of all Spectre's faults, the ending, Blofeld on the bridge, gets in the car, Madeline Swan, stupid bloody name. And I never liked her character, never bought the love story. Bond and Vesper, I'm with you. No,
Yep.
whatever. And she's too young. She's not. I don't mean that way. I just it's whatever. Off she goes. He drives into the sunset. Cheers, Daniel. You've done all right. I've liked half your films. Off you go. Then he comes back for No Time to Die. They write it. The deconstruct Bond. He has a kid. They have the worst. MacGuffin in a film. It's worse than Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. It's what these nanobots that suddenly, if you've got your DNA on them, M acts like an absolute idiot in it. An idiot. Like, I love Ralph Fiennes. I think he's brilliant. Great actor. Voldemort, Armand Goth in Schindler's List. He's unbelievable. He's done loads. He's unbelievable. He did well in the others. He was a great M, really. And he was even good in Skyfall. I liked seeing him that. But Inspector Mike, in No Time to Die, he's just an idiot. Yeah. He's just an idiot. Like, well, we kept this. What, you didn't think this was going to come back to bite you? These nanobots, like Daniel Craig's. I just thought it was horrendous. And then when everybody was like fawning over it, it's one of the best Bond films ever made. It's like, this is unpopular to say with Bond films. I absolutely despise On Her Majesty's Secret Service. I think it's awful because there's a sequence in that where he's dubbed by this guy. It's where he's dressed as Scott with a kilt, and that whole sequence he's dubbed, and it's so badly done. And I probably have to rewatch it, to be fair. I would give it another go as an adult, but I didn't like that one. I was never a big fan of it. And I don't get Die Another Day is not great. We know it's not. But I don't get why I don't understand what people see. I thought that the latest Bond film, and then spoilers, anyone, if you haven't seen No Time to Die and you don't want to hear the spoilers, leave now. You probably had enough of me by now anyway. So just cheers, see you later. No Time to Die. Killing him off at the end. You don't kill Bond. No. You do the cardinal rule. Bond does not die. You want to swap him. You want to show it exploding, but you don't quite see Bond because they showed him getting blown to bits. They literally blown to bits. There was no like, he might be alive. No, he's dead. And it's like, what they like the arrogance. That's all it was. I'm sorry, apologies, anyone who likes it. This is what I mean when I get the sheer arrogance of the filmmakers and Daniel Craig to be like, I want to bring him back, but I want to kill him off. No, Daniel. No, sorry, no. It's not about you. Bond has gone on before. It's like a manager of a football club. Doesn't matter how good you are, how much praise you get, how many trophies you win. The club was around before you, and it will survive after you. It's not about you. So do your stint and bugger off and do well. That's all it's about. But to come in and go, well, I want to leave. Well, you should have left. What'd you come back for? And then to kill him off, it's just like, and you knew something was coming with that film. Danny Boyle had it for years. Yep. Danny Boyle's films I love. 28 Days Later, Millions, Sunshine, which I watched recently, really liked that. He did like the beginning sequence of 28 Weeks Later and was produced on that. I've loved his films. I think they're great. Really, really good filmmaker. And then when he left with like his writing team and that, he thought, and the guy who does the screenplays, he thought, what's going on here? And just why? Because how were they gonna bring it back? And I don't want to get into it because it'll get all political. I've got an idea what they might do, but it won't be Bond. It will not, like, it's not going to be. And I don't get it. I think people understand films are not real life. Yep. We've got a character that sleeps with loads of women. Yeah. Yes, he does. Well, it's misogynistic. Right. But he's a character. Like he's a character. He's not real. Yep. Like he goes around murdering people. Yep. Like it's not meant to be. Like it's not meant to be. You're not meant to aspire to be Bond. Yep. I hated it, and I dread to think what's going to happen next. Especially given MGM has been sold. You don't have to keep this in. I dread to think what happens next.
Yeah, because it's owned by Amazon now.
But yeah. Oh, is it Amazon now? Is it? I can't keep track because it's like they're owned by them. God help us. Like, just let it go. I don't know why. Just if you didn't want to do it, Daniel. And then the fact all the producers keep coming out and saying, it'll take us years to find a replacement. Will it? Will it really? When there's Henry Cavill and Tom Hiddleston and all. I mean, Idris Elba, if you'd pulled your finger out, but he's too old now. He's too old. I'm sorry, Idris. Yep. I've loved you in Luther, and he did a film recently where he was a decent Bond-esque person, but he's too old. He's too old now. But he's not. But he looks too old. He looks old in his years, I think. But yeah, I don't know. And yeah, I mean, if they tried to change Bond into a woman, I don't, which is a distinct possibility. Go make. There's an assassin in Mission Impossible. I think it's 3 or 4, and she kills people at the beginning. She's ruthless.
Yeah, Rebecca Ferguson's character. Yeah.
And there's 24, that series. There's an assassin in that who nearly kills President David Palmer because she puts like this latex on her hand that like has poison on it, and she shakes his hand. And she's ruthless. The main character, Myers as well, who kills Jack Bauer's wife, spoilers. She's an unbelievable villain, and they had some great villains in that. Like, if you want to write a story about a female spy, knock yourself out. But please don't take her Bond. Like, let it. If you don't, just let it go if you want to. Because that No Time to Die hit her, and then they get, I want to tell you a story about about a man called James Bond. I was like, oh my god, like what even is this?
Yeah.
my review of that, I think I recorded it. I think 2:00 in the morning. So depressed.
They need a bonus extra, don't they, on it, where it's after the end, where she's like reading the stories to the child, like, Bond was looking and he was playing this game of I'm trying to remember how Casino Royale, the first book, started now, but whatever.
Well, it's just I don't know why. I don't know why they did it. It just like. And the whole idea of it as well was so stupid. Like Vesper ends up with, because they didn't have the rights to Spectre, so she ended up with Quantum, which was Spectre, but whatever. Yep. So she ended up with them double crossing because of her boyfriend and all that, which is Quantum Solace, makes sense. And then she dies, and then she gets buried. Bond is near her grave, goes to see her grave. They blow the grave up and nearly kill him. Yep. And his first thought is, it's Madeline. No, I'm going to admit, Bond. You had a relationship with this woman. It was very widely known in this organization. You've gone to see a grave. Did you not think they maybe thought, should we put a bomb there in case he ever comes? And they've got enough money, put a guy on the gate, and if Bond ever comes or a man ever comes to that, blow it up. Like the idea that, this happened to it, has to be her. Who else knows we're here? They didn't need to know you were there, James. They just need to put a bomb behind a flipping headstone and think, well, if a guy ever comes in a suit looking like this, take him out if you can. Yeah. I just thought it didn't make any sense. This idea he just abandoned her. Why did he retire every film? It didn't make. He either got shot or he left or he retired every film. He never had that film where he never had his Goldfinger for me. No. I wanted a film where he was just Bond, and they teased it at the end of Skyfall. They teased it. M was there, new M. Moneypenny was there. It was like, oh my god, they've set everything up. Then it comes back Inspector, and he's older, and he can't shoot straight again, and all that crap. And you thought, really, you again? Like, whatever.
Right. Anyway, sorry, before we lose all the listeners here by going far too over time. Anyway, I've already explained how everybody can get hold of me and find me. And thank you everyone for listening. And I hope you listen again to another episode of Pods Like Us.
They're not all as long as this, I promise. Thanks, Marv.